and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start out with our public hearings.
Public hearings will be held by the town board of the town of Ticonderoga on December 12, 2013, starting at 6 o'clock p.m. and running consecutively, beginning with a local law establishing the requirement of a certificate of occupancy. Then a local law amending local law 6 of 2003 regulating junkyards. And finally, a local law prohibiting the parking of trailers in certain parking lots and on all public streets and highways. Those who want to be heard, please speak.
Trailers as in residential trailers.
No. The parking of trailers as in vehicle trailers, boat trailers, construction trailers,
Camper trailers.
camper trailers, hauling trailers.
I had a concern, I know we discussed it before, whatever, about, say, contractor trailers, somebody working at a residence and stuff like that. Didn't we discuss something about the possibility of having the codes office issue a permit to have somebody
There's something in
have a trailer there?
4 days, yeah.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
What is it?
Want to
the
go
deal?
right down in order though on these,
Yeah.
as they were published? The first one, your certificate of occupancy. If anybody wants to speak on that.
Bill, did you have any input on that?
Say again, Jeff.
Well, I think you guys are pretty well aware that we've been doing a lot of inspections lately, some fire inspections, and we've had a lot of complaints, mainly in residential rental units, and we're finding that there are no CO detectors, fire alarms, no smoke alarms, and some of them, they have them in there, they're not working, egress windows that are not operable, tons of smaller violations, but the actual safety stuff is really seeing a lot of this stuff, and, it's only a matter of time before we do get, a serious fire. Mariah just had a real serious one, and, most fires, smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors give quite a lot of warning, and, that's just a catastrophic fire. The tenant should have ample time to get out. That's one of my biggest concerns. If the college goes through and starts having dorms around town, then we're really going to be, under the gun on this kind of stuff. I'm not saying all rental units are bad. There are some real fine landlords that keep their properties up nice and do everything, but we have a lot that are not doing what they're supposed to do. So basically, it would get us into these buildings so we can, we can control it before the complaints start. We usually don't get complaints at the beginning of the lease, it's towards the end when there are issues. Sometimes it's just paying rent. When they get behind in the rent, then they start making a bunch of complaints. But there's definitely some issues. I'm sure all you guys know that. I have tons of pictures. Most of you guys have seen.
So this will, you go into some of these buildings on an annual basis there's an annual inspection that you do?
Well, New York State law, unless the local law is established, change it, we can only, by law, go into multi-family residences where 3 or more units. And at this point, they said every 3 years. These group, single, when there's 2 family units in a house, we don't get into them unless there's a complaint made. What we're finding is that we're finding these problems that inadequate egress. That's a serious problem. And smoke alarm, carbon monoxide detectors, that's a law. That's a New York State law that they are required. If there's a dual burning device anywhere in the building or an attached garage. And people are just not doing it. And I would rather take the extra time and get it safe before we do have fire. We lose people. And, I feel very, very strong about this.
How far does that go, Bill? In other words, somebody put an addition on, does that mean that
Well, they would have to get, if they put an addition on, they need to get a building permit, and then we're going to get occupancy there. This is more of the safety, we'll be looking for electrical problems, egress problems, again, smoke alarm, carbon monoxide detector. We'll have a look, a checklist to go. It won't be arbitrary, it will be followed on the checklist. A lot of communities being very hard about Lake Lodge.
well, let's say somebody moves out and somebody else moves in the same place, is that also?
Well, I think in here, I think we have it, it's good for a year. So if they do have a turnover less than a year,
But if there is a turnover, then you're left.
yeah.
So when I had an apartment building, I had 11 apartments, and you would go there every time a tenant moves out and a new one comes in, or you would just go to the building once every 3 years?
Well, now we just go in once every 3 years, and we found a serious problem.
Yeah.
Okay. That building is certainly gone downhill since you left.
I'm just wondering about how, it used to be that there wasn't a certificate of occupancy issued for each apartment,
No.
but now there will be.
Well, yeah, that's,
Somebody stays a year and moves out, and somebody else moves in.
I don't think that's what he was saying, that's what I was trying to understand.
You said if somebody stays a year or a little more, when they move out, and they move out, and somebody else wants to.
oh, yeah, that's when we would do it.
So you would go there more than once every 3 years?
Yes.
You know, every time a tenant comes out?
And the plus to this, we would go in and check the place.
Yeah, I think that's
So
great.
if the tenant tracks the apartment, they have a document signed by us, and they could actually take us to court as a witness saying that there was nothing wrong with the apartment prior to these people taking occupancy. It's the safeguard for the tenants and the landlords.
I think from a former property owner's point of view, if I had somebody who wanted to move in, though, I would want him to go and inspect right away, so you weren't going to.
And there are landlords that do that, and we do that. Or if it's a supervisor service. But there are a lot that don't. People change. They move in and out. And they don't even clean the floor.
Bill, is there a fee associated with this every time?
Yeah, in this, we're talking $50, which I thought was a little excessive, but, I'd rather have it, start it off a little lower and prove that it's, $50 is quite a chunk of change. Again, if they keep their occupancy up to date and safe, they can stay longer and they won't be a turnover. That, there's definitely some pluses.
Yeah, where did you come up with a $50 figure? Where did that come from?
Now,
Just a
in the
suggestion,
law you gave me
a
from
starting
Mariah.
place?
in that one copy.
You can make that number whatever you want.
Yeah.
So that's what, based on Mariah's occupancy?
Yeah, that was
That they
Mariah.
just put in?
That we have, yeah.
So again,
That's pretty high.
I own an apartment building, it's got 11 apartments in it. What's it gonna cost me to have you come in? Is it gonna be $50 per apartment or $50 per building?
For each time we come in to do a certificate of occupancy inspection. Yeah.
So the fee is per apartment?
Or, we, again, it's entirely up to the board how they want to set the fee schedule, but, like your whole apartment, if you can go in and do the whole apartment once a year, and, that could be a different fee schedule.
That'd be a lot of money for
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean, the $50 a pop.
Yeah.
It's quite
Yeah, just more incentive to keep
But,
everything.
there won't be all the apartments hopefully turning over every year either, so. That, the apartment we're talking about, we've been up there, we've probably up to 10 or 11 visits in the last month.
What are the board's thoughts on the fee?
I think the fee should cover their costs. If they have an idea of how long it may take to do a inspection, then base whatever their cost is to that, so it covers the cost of it, at least.
What do you think? Go over the
I
sheet.
don't see, the form will be in the computer, all we'll have to do is put the name, address, apartment number onto that.
How many items on the form? How many items on the form? What's the checklist? Is it a lot of things, or?
Well, no, we haven't really fine-tuned that one. I've got some copies of some downstate that really go into it, every little thing. But, basically, we were talking about doing the safety stuff, but, cosmetic is not going to be an issue, that won't be, we won't be doing that.
What do you
But if there's a hole in the floor or something like that, that's going to be fixed.
Chuck's got something. Chuck's got a question.
I just wondering if you do find the issue, are you going to charge to go back and check it? Or is the fee going to cover that apartment for that period?
Oh, that'll cover that should cover the fee. All it'll be is the landlord will call us up, say, well, I'll fix those problems, or swing into a quick inspection and issue the certificate.
Well, it says here,
Yeah.
fee for any re-inspection required.
That law you gave me had $25 for a re-inspection.
For a re-inspection.
Yeah.
And again, there's no
Bless you.
legal requirement, that's just a law that.
No, that's what, the fee is something that I have to
So
consider.
now we're up to 70.
At least, depends on, yeah.
What we do now with this one that we have to do every 3 years, we tell them that we come in and go walk. And give them, we have a list that we can give you. And say what we're going to do.
And then an official visit would cost anything?
Didn't change the last one besides the shop.
I've got all the other ones, parking and all that.
Yeah, it didn't change the whole, that's why.
Oh. Okay.
Is this just for apartments or is this for anybody who rents?
Oh, I believe, according to the town started that, when they put it in up there, that they have to cover every, even a sale at all. When somebody takes possession of the property, because you couldn't.
Every time it changes.
I would think that's the buyer's responsibility to, if somebody wants to buy a home in any condition, they should be able to do that, fix it at their own leisure.
Well, again, it's still, like I said, it's smoke alarm coming outside, and egress windows, that's the law. You have to work.
Then they unhook them the day after, so
Yeah.
who's responsible then?
And the landlord is responsible.
You can't go in there and buy their house, once you rent it to them, and if they unplug their stuff,
Well, that happens, I'm sure that does happen.
so who's gonna pay for that when you win and inspect us?
Well, it's the landlord's responsibility to make sure the smoke alarms in the town outside are working and good. It's not the tenant's responsibility to make sure.
I understand, but you can't go in their house once they move in. So how do
Yes, you
we
can.
know that they're working? And are you going to go every year and inspect it, even if the tenants don't move? Or is it just somebody moves?
It's the only way it's changed.
Put it in the contract.
It would it also be before the new tenant can move in? It would
Yes.
be checked? And if they alter it after they move in, that's,
It's on the tenant.
that's outside the scope of this.
Yeah, I agree. I think the reality of what would happen in something like this, because I can tell you from a real estate perspective, we do a lot of closing, is what my suggestion would be is if this is adopted, that copies of it get sent out to local realtors and local attorneys who do closings, because word will get out. And what'll happen is the title companies are going to start calling Bill, asking for proof that this property has gotten its CO on a transfer of title. It happens downstate on every closing.
We
Basically,
get
Southland
them
questions.
all the time,
Yeah,
several a week now.
yep. Word will get out.
We're gonna need more help then, right?
Yeah.
Somebody else was just hired for this department, so he's not by himself anymore.
Say you're-
I would get it into it. We have a tip staff that goes out weekly with the bar down in Warren County, and if you adopt it, I'd send it to them. So if the attorneys down there know. Because they'll change the practice a little bit. But as far as the fees and things like that, that's purely at the board's discretion. I think local law-wise, you could reduce them here, you could not increase them. If you increase them, we'd have to keep the public hearing going for the next meeting. But if you're going to charge a lesser fee, that would be fine. And there is a 25, that law from Mariah had the $25 reinspection fee. That's your discretion too. No, there's no legal requirement. That's policy.
And if you neglect to do it, it's a $250 fine?
Yeah.
This is in an effort to give Bill, the codes department, an opportunity to have the tools that he needs to be able to do his job, and for quality standards for the rental units, and it's become a big problem around the town. With many of the rental units are barely fit for humans, for residents, with some pretty serious pictures and photos, and little kids living in a bedroom with rats in the bottom drawer, holes in the floors, and it's just the conditions warrant the town board addressing the living conditions and holding landlords and tenants to a standard. And again, Mariah just did it. It's not just high, it's It's a problem all over. It's a problem all over here. So,
I'd put a motion on the floor that it be reduced to 35 on the first inspection, 25 on re-inspections. You gotta go back.
yeah, we're in the public hearing portion.
Okay, that would be my opinion.
When we get into the regular
Yeah.
town board, we're ready to adopt it.
Is there a time period, let's say I have an apartment for rent, and I'm really not going to do this till I'm close to renting it, and I find out somebody wants to rent it, so I call Bill? Bill, is there timely? Are you going to come out pretty quick and do this for me so I can rent this apartment?
I think Mariah wants 5 days.
5 days?
I have to respond within 5
That's a third of my month, that's a quarter of my monthly rent, Bill.
We better pick up the phone.
Oh, again, that could be done, 24 business hours after the call comes in, within, a lot of times we can respond immediately. It's not again, this is something the board can say, the inspection, that, after the request is made, the inspection got to be done within 48 hours, 24 hours, whatever.
And there's no time limit before somebody can take possession. So you would have an apartment where somebody vacates, you could call the next day, planning ahead that somebody else is coming. Could be a month or two later.
So he could do the inspection, the apartment's ready to go, as long as nobody moves in, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I don't think that's good either. I mean, you could have a permit in there for 3 months, and then stuff could happen. I mean, if you're going to inspect it before somebody moves in, and you need to do it before somebody moves in, not give some information and 3 months later if somebody moves in. That ain't gonna work. Of course, I would think maybe you give a window, if a person moves in, you've got 5 days to call it in, and then you can inspect it. But to have a place empty and inspect it and say it's good to go, and then who knows what happens between. I mean, if you're gonna cover the territory, cover it all.
The only problem is, if you have an apartment owner or mobile homeowner that's renting a unit and they have it prepared and ready to rent, they get their inspection, they list it as ready for rent. Who's to say how long it's going to take to find a tenant to move in there?
Exactly.
That's what I was asking.
You were saying you're trying to protect the territory.
If the tenant moves in and makes a complaint because there's something amiss, that's one thing, but you've got to go on the assumption that once that place has been inspected and approved, it's going to remain that way. I mean, you've got to make some assumptions going down the road. I think that would be one of the logic.
That's what I think there's a lot of loose ends.
I won't deny that.
Any more questions on it? Bill, anything more to add?
Bill, I got a question. Did I understand you to say you're going to need additional staff to enforce this?
Well, I think we can certainly do it with 2. And again, being a local law, it doesn't have to be a code enforcement officer to do this inspection. It could be anybody you designate, I know I have a part-time person just to do that.
They're going to be reviewing code enforcement issues, though. They're going to be reviewing code enforcement issues.
Well, yeah, again, it will all be, this inspection will be done right off the checklist. So they either pass, fail.
But if they are a code enforcement qualified person.
Oh, yeah. It would certainly be better, it would certainly be better all the way around.
Now, is this only going to go into effect when somebody moves, or does everybody have to be inspected first?
I would say, as people move out, we couldn't possibly go around and inspect every rental property, even just rental property, let alone the, sale.
Well, you are going to inspect every rental property over a 3-year time period. Everybody should.
Only in 3 years. It's only every 3 years under the New York State Uniform Code, Fire Code.
So it would seem.
And it's only for 3 families or more. These single family places and the ones that have the illegal garage apartments and up in the attic, slipping through the cracks. They're the ones, those are the scary ones.
This will help to clean that up, though. This will help.
Oh, yeah, because, they'll have a right to, but, we do get the intern. That's why I looked at one today.
So someone would have to make a complaint about the apartment over the garage that wasn't.
Well, with this law, we, if somebody just moved in, we can bring them to court and make them from court. We can do that under the building code, you cannot convert any property an occupancy if it's a garage, and you can't make a living space without legally getting a permit, but there are people doing it constantly.
Bill, where's some of the better run? I mean, this is implemented successfully in other places, laws like this. Where have you seen it work
Just
the
about
best?
everybody downstairs, I think just about every town downstairs. I believe Lake Placid put it into effect. Mariah had it, or Henry had it. I think was it Queensbury or Lake Jordan? One thing, somewhere down there. Maybe South. I know when Harry was on board, he did some research on it. Found quite a few of them, but they're all south.
And do you work with Port or Mariah at all?
No.
No. I mean, how many actionable cases do they have a year, do you think?
Well, Henry has probably, if you average them out, maybe 2 a month.
2 a month?
There's seasons when people, usually in the spring, there's a big turnover. Sometimes in the fall. Usually, during the winter, there's very little movement. People don't change unless, there's an eviction or something like that.
Thank you.
Any other input? Any other comments? Any other input on this part?
What about rentals, like people who rent their homes, by the way? You going to inspect them every week when people move in and out? How many people do that? Well, why should some of us be penalized and the others get away with it, and they're making more money than we are? $100 a week or more, some places, are you going to go in there every week and check this place?
It's inspected once a year.
Well, that would be,
That's going to be an exception?
well, no, I don't think it should be, but I don't know how,
How could you?
we have more problems with those properties where it's overcrowded issues, but it's still classed as a single family residence. If they have, if it's a new house and they have a valid certificate of occupancy for that building, then,
So say I had 10 more homes, am I single occupancy, or are you going to come check every one of my trailers?
if you rent them individually, then they have to be inspected individually.
But the houses, no.
If they're getting rented every week by different people.
Well, if you have 10 mobile homes, you'll be
Yeah,
inspected by the department.
Vacation rental, I mean, in New York State lodging law, they're different. Not a
That's a
rental.
whole different ballgame, but.
It is, yeah.
You got renters moving in and out in these homes on the lake that may not be safe, and you're not going to check.
Yeah, you know, we have to start somewhere, you know, we can sit here and go back and forward all night, and there'll be hundreds of, you know, we can't do it because of this, we can't do it because of that. You've got to start somewhere and fine tune it as you go, you know?
Low class people. The rich are getting away with it, and low class gets slammed.
Well, you know, some of these landlords are not hurting, you know, they get $500-600 a month for rent, and they do absolutely nothing. And as I said, you would really be surprised, well, you might not be that.
I've seen the way they live too. I mean, I could have a perfectly good trailer and they destroy it in 3 months. And I have no recourse, but yet I'm gonna be penalized because it ain't nothing to go. And it's not me that didn't put it up to code, it's them that took it out of code.
Yeah, again, you know, this is something that
Yeah.
we've had this over and over.
People are getting fined over and over stuff, or is it just gonna be an inspection with whole bunch of city, or, you know,
Take a minute.
well, that's gonna end here, that's the problem.
Well, that's basically going to be it. And the question is either pass or fail on.
So if we say, oh, you get
You
fined,
have to fix them.
That's a good question.
It won't be a fine if you fix them.
I would proceed with it.
Under here, it's a 6 month. COs are valid for a minimum of 6 months.
So if we inspect the place, and he rents, and we say it's good, and he rents it, and in 3 months, these people move out and the place is destroyed, can he use our document to help him in court to go after these people?
Sure.
If you can go after it, yeah.
Exactly.
That's simple.
Yeah.
It's one thing to get it, like tell landlords, one thing to get a judgment, it's another
Yeah.
thing to enforce
Yeah.
it.
Don't I know?
Yeah, sometimes the first is the easiest part. But the way it's worded right now, that question was a very good question about properties that flip like that. You know, a couple weeks or a week rental here and there. And the way the law is written is that COs are valid for a minimum of 6 months. So in that scenario, you know, if you know you've got properties like that, it's going to turn into a bit of an enforcement issue because you've got to identify them. Somebody can surf the web or figure that out, but that technically, not technically, but under the black and white letter of this law, if that CO, if he inspected it in May, that CO is good for 6 months minimum. So if it turns over 10 times in 6 months, the CO is still good for 6 months.
So my neighbor across the street has 10 cabins with housekeeping.
Yeah.
They fall under this being inspected?
Yep. And that, those COs would be good for a minimum of 6 months. So the smart thing for those property owners to do would be, you know, beginning of May,
Inspect them.
get them done, and they're good for
We
the
only rent them
summer.
in the summer, yeah.
Well, how does that differ from a hotel or motel room? Because those are short-term stays.
Yeah, same deal.
Pardon?
Same deal. They would plan ahead and get one inspection and then have it be good.
So
It would cover the whole stuff.
And how often do you inspect those? How often do you inspect those?
Some rentals,
Motels?
motel. Every 3 years unless they have an assembly occupancy and then every year.
So under this law, you have to inspect Best Western every year.
Every 6 months?
Under this law, would you have to inspect Best Western every year?
We do.
What about Super 8 when they have all the welfare people living in there off and on? Elizabeth Town, they have people living there now.
They fall under this.
They got forward under it, and they're due for an inspection, and every room in that, including the common areas and the furnished rooms and everything else has to be inspected in this question.
Are they every 6 months? They would be every 6 months?
Minimum of 6 months. It would be 6 months unless they didn't have any turnover and occupancy, but then they'd be out of business. So the reality would be, yeah, it'd be 6 months.
Even if they have turnover, they're good for 6 months,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Is there a motel?
A room, buy the motel.
But we do the motels you know.
That's you too.
Best Western, we've been inspecting them
Is Best Western gonna have to
every
pay
year.
$50 every room?
6 months, every 6 months.
Every room, or one fee for the whole place?
No, it's every room, right?
Right,
Yeah.
they do $2,000 for 6 months, but they don't have any dining areas.
So we need to perfect this and talk about this a little bit more before,
Well, yeah, they're good questions, you're hypotheticaling it. They're
Would
good.
that be for 6 months unless there was a complaint? Is that what you're saying?
No, there wouldn't be a complaint to trigger another inspection. Oh, I shouldn't say that. If a tenant calls and has a code complaint, yes, the tenant can let somebody in your building.
Just checking.
They've got apparent authority to let, because it comes under police powers of the town. So if somebody's, not police department, but general police power. So if a tenant calls and has a complaint, they have the authority to let him in. Landlords have tried to curtail that and it doesn't hold up. It's unenforceable.
So there's a lot of fine tuning on this, Steve. How do you do this? Do you pass it and fine tune it? Do you fine tune it and then pass it? What's the
No, it's up
procedure?
to you. I think certainly those are good questions about the light side.
Chuck? Yeah.
Be 6 months.
I say you need to tune it up and put it in front of people around the site, because they're already in a lot of these deals in our country.
Yeah.
Well, it would be a town board decision, you know, on the local law. There's no referendum or anything like that.
Has the committee reviewed these at all? Have these gone through committee? To the Emergency Services Committee? I mean, these laws, these draft laws?
Have they come to the committee?
Yeah, has your committee had an opportunity to comment, look them
That's where
over?
it came from.
But they came out of committee?
It came from there.
We were discussing them months ago.
Committee.
That's why we brought it to
That's where I got
the
it.
town board in the first place.
Okay.
But none of us are in the deal, some of these renters are, that are facing this, that have the questions that understand it, you know? I mean, that's why you have these things.
Yeah, but there's the state laws and the other laws that are in place to take care of that, as he said, every 6 months.
Those set the minimums. What you're doing by this law is you are decreasing the minimum. Bill gave you the minimum. It's 1 year for some buildings, 3 years for others. That's state code. You have the ability to cut that time down. Those are the minimum of state law, 3 years. That's the minimum you can go in the inspection. You're cutting that down to on property transfers and occupancy transfers.
An awful lot of inspections.
So that law, this should have been doing it a while ago.
You know, the board can
Sounds like
have every commercial operation, and multifamily, basically commercial, thing be done every year. You know, it's kind of up to you, but I'm telling you, there's a train wreck coming down the pike. I guarantee you, there's gonna be some serious issues going on.
which will fall on the town's responsibility legally if there's a death.
Not necessarily.
But we've had complaints and complaints, and we get more and more all the time of the town running down, basically. And this will address some of that, the conditions in town and stuff like that. There are some people that take very good care of their rental units, and there are some people that take the money in and don't look at them again. So, you're taking the...
Because rentals, it's private homes do that. Really bad shape.
Just like Bill said, he's been to one place, when you said, what, 11 times in a month? Yes. This should address some of that.
And the police have probably been there more times than that.
And so you
Why do you use this property for that?
Yeah. I don't understand why we're not utilizing it.
You got a 3-bedroom trailer, you got 3 people living in it, that's fantastic.
I didn't know there are,
I mean, just for instance, I've had a renter who's been there since the 60s. He was there when my dad was there. He's still there. I gave him the trailer because I didn't want to have no more to do with it. But he don't even have a furnace in the trailer. So you gonna flunk that trailer?
Maybe she's got it now, maybe she's got it.
if it's own rock, if he owned it, you know, there's, you know,
So, does he have to be inspected? Because it's on my part.
Does he pay rent?
He doesn't pay that
Well,
one.
then it needs to be respected.
Even
And
though
why is that gonna
he's
happen?
not the one who owns the
I
trailer.
don't know.
He pays
A lot of lot
And we
rent.
just pay the lot rent, well, if we don't, again,
I mean, they do good.
if there's no changeover of occupancy, then
You're saying every 3 years, that has to be inspected. Every 6 months. I've never been inspected. There's no.
He's talking about multi-units, right?
if I inspect an apartment tomorrow, and changing hands next month, you don't have to have it re-inspected because it's good for 6 months. So you could put in, you could put in a new tenant every week for 6 months.
Who's gonna keep track of this? You know?
Well, I'll tell you what, my argument is,
Check people.
my argument is, I don't want to call in the middle of the night saying that somebody just lost their life in some of these crack holes.
I understand that, but they also got the option to move.
I lost a brother in a fire, and we had there's a lot of people in town. There's one place that people have to go by every day. That somebody lost their life. And there's no reason for that.
Yeah, we got it. I'm not disputing the park and all that. We don't always get control.
You're crying about cents. I don't care about money.
What I'm saying is,
I care about people's lives.
I've had people leave the trailer, no heat, nothing, in the dead of the winter. I call the police and say, look, I want heat on the trailer. I cannot, I have to go in that trailer, yet it's my property, it's gonna be ruined, and they're gonna arrest me if I go in their home. Somebody needs to change that law.
Because he doesn't know what to do.
I mean, I have to really protect my property. If they get a ban in it, and they're good for the rest of the month, I cannot go in that trailer. I gotta go.
No, you have a lease.
Between emails, I changed.
You have to leave
You do two different things. One is,
Leases don't do correct.
Well,
That's a fact. I mean, I've had, HUD and all them people, and they're gonna guarantee you this, or guarantee you that. When push comes to shove, you get nothing.
But again, if you want to go with I coulda, woulda, shoulda, we can talk about it for the
I'm
next
just saying, I
time.
believe this needs a lot more work, ours was up, and somebody passes it. You do whatever you want to do.
okay, should we go on to the next public hearing?
Next one is on junkyards, if you're done with that. Amending the local law number 6 of 2003 regulating junkyards.
oh, it's just an amendment to take care of, to cut down to make the number of vehicles that you can have to comply with state law, which is 1, and to add boats to that. And that came from the committee. Okay.
Okay, how are you going to address it for agriculture? Remember, we went through that.
Farmers consent to that.
Junkyard.
Are you subject to the law as it is right now?
I didn't bring it. I forgot all about it.
Only vehicles that can be used in agriculture are that. Personal cars are not exempt on agricultural property. Maintenance code.
Right. But you do know that farmers do have their trucks. They leave there and they steal crops.
They are exempt.
They're exempt.
Farm equipment.
That's right.
So what about dump trucks and backhoes and bulldozers?
They're not agriculture, right?
I also have a problem with boat trailers and whatnot. Because
Well, apparently this is what, they wanted to do, is to crack down on all these campers and watercraft and
Campers, maybe.
Two different things now, aren't we?
What I'm getting at is, I've got a boat trailer, I've got a regular trailer, and I don't have a license in them only half a year, but yet, if I park it on my property, there's 2 of them there. Now, that there is,
Well, this is motor vehicle.
No, they said trailers.
It says a vehicle propelled or drawn by power.
That's another law. There's
That's a
another
different law.
There's a third
We're
law.
on two different things here. We're doing junkyard, well, you're talking about the one that was trailers left on public, is that?
No.
No, it says vehicle propelled or drawn by power other than muscular power, which is originally intended for use on public highways and waterways shall include for purposes of this local law, not limited to a car, truck, or boat.
See?
You're right.
No, I know I'm right. Sorry, but.
Let me get to the other one. I'm on a different one.
So, I mean, this law is already in effect. This is just amending your law that's
What we
already in
already
effect.
have.
Yep.
This is already on the books.
Correct.
The junkyard law is already on the books.
Yes. This is just amending.
It's dropping the number of vehicles from 2 to 1 and adding boats.
Boats.
But it's
And
also-
those are not registered.
That's right, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, if it's a boat,
If they're unregistered.
yeah.
So you won't be able to have a couple cars in the store?
I mean,
What if your commercial facility?
You have then you have a
Commercial license, yes.
state saying that you're a garage or a,
So how many cars am I limited to?
if you have business, you can have as many as you wish. You sell them or you repair them, license for you. If you strip them, you have to have a salvage license from the state.
Right. I'm just saying, I got also like storage trailers. Now, these people are from all over, out of town, everywhere else. I keep their trailers all winter. Is that going to affect me?
Again, you have a commercial operation, right? You charge for that storage.
So, different. All right, I'm just saying, I just want to be sure.
So I have to keep my trailer's license year-round to be illegal, because I've got 2 of them.
Well, they still go,
I don't know, they have nothing to do with road.
Are they keeping?
That was,
That's not the intent of the law.
Without a license, huh?
This is, I do have, that's something that I have concerns about, but
Well, I've got some serious concerns
Yeah.
about it, because that's going too far. When you can't have your boat and things like that, which you don't have to license, you can get a heck of a deduction for 6 months if you have it licensed for 6 months. This way, you've got to have a license year-round according to this law.
I have 2 trailers and they're registered every January and they're good for a year.
That's true. But if you don't want to register them in January, if you don't want to pay the extra, then you're in contempt of this law.
The intent of the law isn't so much units or vehicles or trailers that are capable of being used or
They're capable of being used, but you aren't licensing them for the full year.
Well, let's say you get a lot of these places,
that's not the law. You got to read the full law that was adopted in 2003. You're back when Bob was supervisor. This is amending the law that's already in place, and you're talking about things that aren't in the law. All this stuff about licensing and all that is not, because we had this debate, I think this is one of the first laws I ever wrote when we were working for the town. It doesn't deal with that. The licensing, it deals with whether it is no longer intended or in condition for legal use on a public highway. We've added boats and waterways to that. So that's the test. And then under it says, motor vehicle is not in condition for legal use on public highways if major parts of the vehicle are not found thereon, including the engine, seats, seat belts, steering wheel parts, wheels. That was what the town board dealt with 10 years ago, was not dealing with the license part. They didn't want to get into somebody slapping a license plate on a car that didn't work, or somebody that had a car that just wasn't registered.
So I'm not
You're protected.
breaking that law if I don't license it on trailers.
We bought that pattern.
All right, thank you.
We bought that.
Yeah.
We didn't want that to happen.
We went through probably 6 or 7 drafts a long time ago. So what you gotta do is you gotta read the existing local law from 2003 and then look at these 2 slight changes. It was to drop the number of cars down to 1, which is the building code, and then to add boats. Other than that, the law as it existed in 03 stands.
So you can have as many snowmobiles or motorcycles as you want?
You gotta read the law. We've done for an hour what you can't do. But this amendment is not dealing with any of that stuff.
But can't they have as many vehicles as they want? They're willing to put a fence around it? Stockade fence?
Yes.
They can have a dozen vehicles.
If anybody here, Wayne, there are provisions in here for getting permits to do the things you want to
You
do.
can put a stockade fence around it and have as
That's
many
right.
vehicles as you want, or whatever you want behind it.
went through the whole-
Snowmobiles, campers, motor, whatever you want.
Drafting all of this.
As long as it doesn't,
But then you're getting into the junkyard.
That is the truck.
Well,
that's,
I believe it was 5 units.
Something of that nature.
Okay,
To get into
discussion on this?
population law, there's still that one thing about usable items. We're talking about, you know, East Lake, there's a couple of places where there's old campers that are crushed in and, you know, old cars ripped apart.
Yeah, that's not allowed.
That's not allowed. It's not allowed now. You cannot rip the vehicle out in the
That's right.
open and leave it enclosed. That's state law. That's not, that's not type of rule. That's state law.
So are we enforcing that? Are we enforcing that law that we have?
We enforce, you know, somebody put the car out in the front driveway. You can't see it, you know. I still think, you know, property rights, you know, if you're the owner of the property and you want to claim, you know, enclose these things, you have to keep the road, I'm not gonna be sneaking around behind the house. When it becomes an eyesore and a lot of you are showing up on the major routes into this town.
Neighbors are complaining.
All summer,
So
we've
that
had
was my
complaints
question.
from
You know,
residents.
I talked to you a couple years ago about a certain property, and you pretty much said we're not able to enforce it. You didn't have the manpower to enforce it. So do we have the manpower now? If we tighten up the law, we're not enforcing the law we have now, and we're going to tighten it up. So I don't see where that's, I'm sorry, because we have to enforce this if we're going to have the law. But I just have a question. Very often people have these things on their property because they can't, or they think they can't afford to get rid of it. If somebody really can't afford to get rid of it, are there any channels we have to get trash hauler to come and take away an old dump truck?
They have that opportunity.
And that's what happened the last time we were discussing about the town oil cleanup.
Yeah.
People got wind of it, and all of a sudden, you know, anybody that had a pickup and a trailer were in the junk business. And of course, the junk prices went sky high, so it became quite a lucrative business for some of these people.
So people were picking them up, and then where were they bringing them? Were they bringing
To
them?
the junkyard.
Didn't they do that with the police station once? They had to pile them up there?
yes.
We had the law in 2003, that's exactly what we did when this law was first enacted. We hired a guy, we asked him down from Mount Sable, and he came down, he went to the police station, that lot, and they brought every junk car you can imagine in there, and they got rid of it. It was great for the town.
Helped out a lot.
But, you know, now, in the last 2 years, the complaints are becoming overwhelming. I know Debbie,
all kinds
I'm
of calls.
sure every week or every other day, she's getting complaints, emailing the office, this complaint, that complaint, you know, but
So what do? We've got the law now. How are we enforcing it now? If we tighten it up, how is enforcement going to be?
for one thing, we've talked to the judges and they're willing to process these things. We send them what we call an order of remedy to move the vehicle. If it's not done in so many days, we give them a hearing ticket. And the judge will tell them to get rid of it, or if they make a good enough copy, the judge, they can keep it. Comes out of our hands, we legal. And, you know, Friday, with, 2 years ago, we tried that way, and I brought people in, and the judges just threw it out because it was not being enforced across the board. We were supposed to take it on.
So what's changed?
He has help now, and he's also been out handing out violations,
It's becoming,
a lot of them.
when you start getting almost daily complaints about it, you have to start acting on it. It's just like your tradition. If sewer's running down the thing and you get 100 people calling you, you're gonna get off your ass and do something about it. And that's exactly what we've done.
I understand, but I have a
Taxpayers, we still work for the taxpayers.
Yeah.
The taxpayers are demanding action on these things.
Well, I'll tell you something that really needs to go in, is that sign up the monument. That thing, I can't believe that. I mean, you talk about cleaning up, that thing sitting there flashing. Yeah. And it's always for, you know, whatever.
Oh, yeah, you know, we definitely cleared up the sign issue with it, so, you know, there's a lot less don't signs around, but again, you know, we can't have somebody driving around every couple of days picking up these. You know, they seem to come, the back of these signs come in cycles too. A couple of months ago, I went out, I think I picked up 24, 25.
Well, he's talking about the flashing wheel sign.
One town puts it up.
Yeah, we're actually talking about boats, adding boats and reducing cars from 2 to 1 on the local law.
We're getting off.
Okay. Anything on? I don't know. I remember, Bob, when I was a councilwoman when we were doing this junk law, and we spent hours hashing out the number of unregistered vehicles. We agreed that it was only fair that 2, because a lot of people do restorations of vehicles, and you know, so. But it's up to everybody. But I would not be an advocate of reducing from 2 down to 1. Adding boats, yeah. No reason why people can't have 2 unregistered vehicles if they're hidden from view, like the law says, or covered with a tarp, or behind a stockade fence. And there's a lot of people who work on cars and do restorations. But that's just my input on that. Okay, anything else on this? Okay, next one.
The next one is prohibiting the parking of trailers in certain parking lots and on all public streets and highways.
There's been an increase of town properties that people are using for their own storage of personal vehicles of all kinds. Travel trailers, boats are showing up on town property and being left there. And as a result of that, we've had, other residents call and say, well, gee, why can't we store our property on town land? So it's become a problem. Any more input onto the law?
No, that's it. The committee got very concerned that even during the summer, campers and things were being left in the street. And a lot of our shoulders between the white stripe and the curb aren't very wide. So if you park there, you're disrupting traffic, and that was an issue for Mark and the police department. So I think that's where that arose from, got sent from the committee to me to address something and take care of
This is
that.
going on streets and highways.
Yep.
It was also,
Public park.
that's not
Yeah.
in the public parking, yes.
Is this just public parking or is this other?
It's parking lots.
Public.
Any town, highway, road, street, or public parking lot or other public property. So it wouldn't be.
Public.
I mean, you have Walmart or Lowe's or somebody like that that can allow you to park. Motel, no, wouldn't apply to them. And to, one of the comments that came back after was leapfrogging. So we have put a restriction in there that moving within 2,000 feet, and that can be any number, but will not be considered relief. So if somebody gets in their car and drags the trailer 500 feet up the road, that's not complying with the law.
The only difficult thing I see with it is any vehicle, and I understand why they want to do it, but the only difficult thing I see is, for instance, down here in the village, other than during the winter parking ban, somebody can park a vehicle every single day on the street as long as it's registered and it's legal. So if they park, what I'm saying is if they park a vehicle on the street, or if they have a boat trailer, somebody, just for instance, somebody likes to go fishing every day. They have a pickup truck and a boat trailer parked on the main street every day.
Did they move it at night?
They don't have to now.
I thought there was a 3-hour parking limit.
There may be, not specifically, maybe not on my Con Street, but Lake George Avenue, Champlain Avenue. If it's registered, it's legal to park on a street, unless there's other things like the 3-hour parking or the winter parking. There's nothing that says that you can't take and park out in front of a residential area as long as the vehicle is registered.
That's definitely something to think about. I had a lot of those
That's
thoughts when I drive.
just the way the law is. I mean, it's just, I understand what they're saying. They don't want to have, the issue that I see is something that's not attached to a vehicle, okay? It's not motorized. It has something that's set. I remember seeing a camper sit for most of the summer over on one of the side streets. There was a boat sitting on town property over here the last couple of years, intermittently. That's what they're trying to address. My difficulty is what I just said, is the fact that a vehicle can park on the street if there isn't, and anything that's legally registered can park on the street unless there's some other thing saying that it can't.
That's correct. This would be a curtailment of that, like any other no parking.
If the trailer's connected to the vehicle?
Even if it's not, right now, even if it's not connected, if it's registered, you can park it on this.
I would look at this as that if the trailer is not connected to the vehicle, okay, it's parked as a trailer, right? And it's not connected to a vehicle so that it can be moved at any given minute, then it's in violation. If it's connected to a vehicle, probably a different situation. I mean, a lot of it's interpretation. I think there's going to be some discretionary issues that the police are going to have to take and use, but, you know, hopefully our police force has enough integrity to make those determinations and not cause waves or, you know, not allow things that shouldn't happen.
Again, like I said, my concern is how do we differentiate between that?
But that'll be the guy with the boots on the ground. I mean, that's how they use the law, right?
Yeah. And there's difficulties with that. There's difficulties, believe me.
That's where the guy has to be here.
Going right, so we extend it for 3 days.
Okay, anything else on the parking?
That law is considered.
Any more comments on the parking? Final one?
I got one other thing, just to throw this out. You got all the boat tournaments and stuff. You have a weekend or 3-day boat tournament or something like that. You have boats parked all over the place. How are you going to differentiate between the people that are bringing money in for these boat tournaments and Joe Blow that lives here?
Well, you go to the permit ability too. That was in that section 3, town can give a permit.
Yeah, but it's not like that trailer's coming in here and sitting for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Like I said, I understand what the intent of what it is, but how do you differentiate? You take, is it because, I mean, it's not ethical to take and say, okay, well, we're going to let these people that are bringing income into the town, generating revenue, okay, and then it can be gone after the weekend or whatever. We're not going to give them a ticket, but Joe Blow that lives here, we're going to give a ticket. That's not ethical. Okay? The point is we need to come up with some means of dealing with everybody equally.
I thought this law was addressing the amount of time that you were parked on that public property. I mean, 24 hours, no, probably not, or something like that. You're talking a week, the thing's been there, and it's there repeatedly, week after week. That's nothing. These guys are coming in and fish, they're here for a week and they're gone.
And that's a means of taking care of this, is putting a period of time. It's not unreasonable to put a period of time in it, as opposed to just saying that they can't do it.
It reads an extended period of time, negatively impact traffic or
But
congestion.
you need to delineate what an extended period of time is, because it's completely arbitrary.
No, right now you've got 24 hours and then the aggregate 30-day period.
So what stops them from moving it up to the next spot?
It talks about that.
Basically,
2,000 feet away.
2,000 feet away.
That's a whole new-
2,000 feet.
So you put it on the other side of town, and somebody else's way.
Yeah. Has to be moved 2,000 feet.
I think it's a no wind.
It's in there, quarter mile.
Still don't think it's... I think it can be addressed, but I think it needs to be addressed more clearly.
We don't have to adopt it tonight, we can work on it some more.
To the police department, do they feel they can enforce this the way it's written?
They were the ones that actually
They're the ones that drew it.
brought this forward because they had issue with this stuff, causing real problems.
They were getting complaints.
Yeah. Yeah, you get up high on Champlain Avenue or something, try to get through there with a couple vehicles or a bus, and with something parked there for a couple weeks, it's difficult. And they had no recourse, they asked the person to please try to do something with it, so they were the ones that brought this forward.
So they've actually read this particular, the language on this, so they must feel they can enforce it then.
Okay, any more comments on this portion?
Yeah, I got one question. What about the fuel trucks out by the town shed? They park there all winter. You want to push them out of there? Like Pat Armstrong's, there's always fuel trucks there.
Private property.
Town trucks. It's town property.
It's town property.
Are you gonna exempt them? How you gonna enforce that?
What are you talking about?
There's fuel trucks out there all winter long. Some of them are running all night long because the weather's so cold they can't start. And they run fuels at night and they park there all day long. Now, if they're running, what are you gonna do with them?
How often do they move?
Every day almost.
Every day, if you go back to the same spot.
I think somebody lives locally and he drops his trailer.
If they vacate the spot and go back to it, they have that there continuous.
An extended period of time.
Opening it up for.
Direct edge of our property.
Around the block, once a day, or whatever.
My kid told me way back, take a car to the driveway.
I think it's a commercial, okay, that commercial.
So is it on Pat's property or?
It's on our property. It's not like
I
it's
think you've
left
got-
here.
I think you've got to allow the police some discretionary judgment in who they go after, and who they don't. And, you know, any law can be nickel and directed down, but
That's his town property.
I don't know, that's fine.
So you either do it all or none.
If you have a complaint, take it to court.
I think it's the trailer, the guy just drops his trailer there and takes the tractor home. I think it's somebody who lives locally, he draws for Carmen there.
They're hooked up continuously.
Yeah.
And he comes down with his car and they take it out there. I have no problem with it. It's just that you've got other instances that you're not even looking at. And I mean, these guys are making money and they're working, but they can't park it at their house. So why should somebody else that has no place to park their trailer be penalized?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, let them come deal with Walmart parking over there. A lot of people do it.
Well, I'm just saying, you're gonna let one guy go, the other guy not.
Yeah, that's exactly how this came forward.
Park.
Well, number one, you got officer's discretion, so they might not ticket him. And number two, I think the point is, if you do give an appearance ticket, it goes before the judge. Am I sitting there and I'm not owner of that truck? I can defend myself, and I think that judge will take that into consideration. But you do your job. You still have officer's discretion. And I don't think you can nickel and dime every single one of these laws. You could be, well, you try to get every single scenario, wow, it'd be forever. I think you have to keep tweaking the law, tweak it till you get it right. But I think that's still the legal,
You have to have a general law to start
the legal system is going to have to take into account that. That's what they're there for.
I think here in the comments, maybe I just say this and change it as we were sitting here. Originally in section 3 we had, and I put this in the memo last month to ask you about the amount of time that you would want to be able to issue a permit. And I had drafted originally as 4 days. But I think sitting here, probably you might think about, because the town board, you can always draft in your local law that the town board can reserve absolute discretion, right? You wouldn't want to do that with a planning board. Like you wouldn't want to say that the planning board can pass this permit for such amount of time as it deems. That would be on thin ice. But you guys can because you're the legislative board. So my thought is to have that section 3 read, the town board may issue a permit to any recreational vehicle, boat, or trailer owner for such periods as the town board may determine and upon application, So take the time thing. If you've got this person with a trailer and the town board finds that they want to let this person use that, park that trailer there overnight, every night, you could issue that person a permit. And then the one thing I'm sitting here is knowing our issue with fuel and ground. The last sentence here is you can impose conditions on it, and that might be something. If you have somebody that's leaving a tanker truck on town property.
We don't need that.
I think the future town board would want to be able to say, okay, it's
move it.
Or it's parked in a certain area. Maybe not necessarily move it, but you park it over here so it's not going to get hit, or
Or if it develops a leak.
Well, that would be on the owner. That doesn't matter where you are.
The dirt will be on the, oil will be on the town.
It's no different than driving down a road with a leaking truck. You're still liable.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, we all set with the public hearings? All right, we'll close the public hearing. Open the regular board meeting. And grab the sign-up sheet.
It's pretty good comments, Chuck, thank you. Appreciate it, you all did.
Bob Dieter's
Mr. Diedrich, would you like to?
2 board meetings in a row, this is going to be an habit.
Yeah.
You want to stop that? Listen, I'm just here to say thank you to Jeff, and thank you to Steve, and thank you to John. Listen, I've been where you're at, and I know how difficult it is to serve on a town board, and I know how difficult it is to be a supervisor. And Jeff, I know I didn't serve with you on the town board, but you certainly were as chief of police. You did such an admirable job, and you know, anything you did it right, and you did it well, and I'm sure the last 4 years you did the same thing with the town board. And I really appreciate your help on Street Fest. Anytime I asked you, no matter what it was, volunteer, you were always there, so thank you. And Deb and Steve, you know, both times you served 4 years with me on the town board, and both you did exemplary jobs. I don't care what I put you on, what kind of committees I put you on, you know, for instance, the library. Nothing would have been done with that library, Steve, without you. And Deb with economic development, same thing. So, you know, it's a thankless job being on the town board. The number of hours that you spend on budgets and the number of hours you spend on committees, you know, I know what it's like. And I just said, listen, I'm going to come down here and thank him personally. And I'm not just speaking for me, I'm speaking for the town of Ticonderoga, because I know how much time and effort you spent, the dedication you had to this job, you know, and it speaks volume for your integrity and all that you've done. So thank you very much for all that you've done. And Dave and certainly Wayne, you know, thank you for serving. And I'm glad to see the last two board meetings. I mean, many board meetings that you've been elected. Fred and Bill and Chad have been here. So it means that, you know, they're concerned about the town, and that's why they're here. And we're making great progress, but, you know, without board members who are serving, that care about the town will never go forward. And you all care about the town. And I appreciate it, and I know everyone else has appreciated it. So thank you for what you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bobby, thank you.
You don't have to leave.
Well, listen, all 15 minutes from long enough.
His blood pressure's already rising being in this room. Okay, that was nice, very nice. Okay, we'll move on to the minutes. Motion to accept the corrected minutes.
I'll move it. Second.
We have,
The regular town board meeting on November 14th and monthly financial meeting on the 26th. Steve, I don't think you
I wasn't there.
were here, so we can do them together, you can abstain, or we can do them separately, whatever you guys want to do.
who moved them, Wayne? Wayne moved them? No second?
I did do
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Steve, you're going to
Abstain on the one,
vote
yeah.
on the one. Okay. Report of the committees. Public Works, Councilman Taylor.
We held our meeting on November 26th, 2013, with myself, Jeff, Matt Fuller, Todd Hodgson, Tracy Smith, Derek Flurry, Sue Eustace in attendance, also attending, Jody Alcott of the IDA, Kevin Sauer, Department of Health, Bill Brunel, Supervisor-elect, Dick Holroyd, Chad Van Wert, Councilwoman-elect Fred Huston, Councilman-elect, and also Dave Giuliano. Under the Secretary's report, the proposed Water District Number 6 extension, also known as the Baldwin Road Water District, was talked about, and the request is made that the town board approve a public hearing for the establishment of this water district. And there's a resolution that's attached at the end of these minutes. I would move that we establish a public hearing to work on that district.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Cook. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So
Okay.
moved.
Under the John Street extension request, we've asked for an extension in the grant funding for that project, and the only thing it's holding it up is a pending single audit on the town financial records. It's been held up because of an accountant that took ill. So the town board will review this beginning of the year and make a determination whether to continue the contract with Dick DeNalpo or seek a Hardy firm to complete these audits. The town board has to make a final decision on how they will be assessing this debt, ad valorem or by EDU. Page 2. It's talking about the Baldwin Road Water District. Todd has spoken with our bond counsel, and in order to ensure future funding of this project, it's important that a decision be made on structure. This isn't gelling here, guys. This is service contracts. It was talking about a request on discussion of increasing the vacant lot 10% rate and the vacant home 25% rate, and charging a fee to disconnect property owners who are considered a service contract and request to terminate the service. No future debt incurred for the water system project will not be affected by rate reductions. Yeah. You changed this. Not be able to be changed as long as it is not included in the water sewer use, which it will not be. It will either be assessed as a separate billing item or included in the town and county taxes. The town board has to make a final decision on how they will be assessing this debt, ad valorem or by EDU. Todd Hodgson has spoken with the bond council, and in order to ensure future bonding for this project, it is important that a decision be made on a structure for assessing water rates on future debt. Based on past and current conversations on this matter, it is being assumed that the majority of the committee and town board is more comfortable with assessing the debt based on an EDU rate structure versus an ad valorem one. A special committee consisting of Todd, Sue, Derek, and Tracy will meet to develop a rate structure for future debt to be incurred by the water and sewer districts based on an EDU rate structure. Once a rate structure is developed, it will be presented to the town board to adopt. The committee has also requested a new rate structure be presented to replace the current one that addresses the rate reduction requests. Under the Water Sewer Committee recommends the town board adopt a policy that if a resident who receives water or sewer service by a service contract requests this service to be terminated, this will be completed once a fee is paid to the town to cover the cost of time and materials to disconnect the lateral from the town main. The disconnection fee will be determined by the water or sewer department. All current charges will remain in place until the fee is paid, and the resident will have to sign off and acknowledge that in discontinuing water or sewer service, they acknowledge that the town is under no obligation to provide this service in the future unless they are in an established district. And I will move that.
Second, the councilman. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That carries.
Okay, after much discussion on numerous requests for rate reductions, the Water Sewer Committee recommends the town board place a moratorium on water sewer rate reductions. No rate reduction will be granted within an established water or sewer district or for service contracts. The moratorium is to last until an acceptable rate structure is adopted by the town board, and I'll offer that.
Second.
Second, Councilman Liano. Discussion?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, jumping down to item 11 on page 3, under Adirondack Meat Processing, there will be an additional O&M charge due to the type of business and expected maintenance/odor control at the pump station. The DEC is requiring that a pre-treatment plan be put in place for this business. Once the plan is in place, any additional expenses to this district due to this business will be the sole responsibility of the business owner and not the district. Under public comment, John Bartlett, what are the timelines for securing the financing for the water supply project, was his question. And the answer was the town has up to 2 years to secure the short-term financing from the DWSRF, but it has been put off due to the town not having a defined project. Much of this delay has been caused by developing a plan for the town water supply system that was affordable, addressed all the defects in the water system, supply system that was affordable, and was financeable by the EFC. Further delays have been caused by negotiations with property owners and securing option agreements to complete test wells on their property and to secure a purchase price if the town chose to further develop the selected site. The 2 years is nearly up, and if the town does not come forth with a defined project and a completed seeker for this project, the 0% short and long-term financing will be lost with a $2 million grant that the town has been applied for from the EFC. The town will also lose grants that the IDA intends to apply for, but has been unable to, as they too need a defined project. June 1st, 2013 is the final date to have all the information in EFC, though some is due in February. That must be 14, that's a typo. June 1st, 2014. Tasks to be completed to meet this date. First, finalize the sale of the Sawyer property. Second, award a bid for the production well. Third, complete the production well. Fourth, define the project. Fifth, complete seeker, which requires a minimum of 2 months. There was also a discussion of smaller projects that are part of the larger project, such as the Chilson transmission main, Funds have been secured from FEMA to finance replacement of the water main from the reservoir to the bottom of Chilson Hill. This is a $2.1 million project that has been removed from the larger water supply project. The Route 9N PRV, replacement of this PRV has been fully funded by FEMA at a cost in excess of $25,000. That's a pressure reducing valve. Under the racetrack road, pressure reducing valve. This project is currently being funded partially by FEMA, but full reimbursement is expected at a cost of $405,000. The project was once part of the larger water supply project. Again, it's reduced the overall cost and scope of the work. Under the street road water main replacement, the town currently has an application to the Office of Community Renewal in the amount of $600,000 to replace the portion of the street road water main that is located in back lots and is being compromised by acidic soils. The town is very successful in being awarded OCR grants, and this portion of water main was slated to be replaced with a larger water supply project, but is expected to be removed upon award of this grant. Under the Route 9N and 74 water main, $1.6 million is being sought from FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant to replace the portion of the water main from approximately the Route 74 PRV to the car wash on Route 9N. If approved, this project would remove $1.2 million from the larger water supply project. Under the Water Wastewater Supervisor's Report, sewer districts, the Speedies permit. The Speedies permit will be released this week. It is published to allow for comments. The town has been notified that as part of the Speedies permit, they will have to disinfect outfall 1 and outfall 2. A WQIP grant is available, which amounts to an 85% grant and then a 15% local share for a maximum allowed of $2.5 million. The Water Sewer Committee recommends that the town board authorize AES to submit a WQIP application on behalf of the town. This grant application is due by December 13th. It is expected that other schedules will be part of this Speedies permit, one being continued sewer assessment. And I would offer that.
Second.
I'll second.
Councilman Cook, discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you. The requirement for sewer separation could become a larger issue than it has been in the past. Under the Hague Road Sewer District, a call was received on November 23rd for a grinder pump alarms at the Sentinel Grill in Joel Pan's. Upon arrival, neither pump was operational and was therefore replaced. Testing of both pumps indicated further issues, and it was discovered that the force main was plugged with grease. The owner of the Sentinel Grill was called to the site. Both grinder pumps were removed, and the source of the grease was very obvious. After discussion with the owner and a long-term employee of the restaurant, it was discovered that there is no grease trap present in the restaurant. The owner was notified that a grease trap needed to be installed immediately. This mishap could have resulted in far more damages than what occurred, and the committee feels that all businesses that should have a grease trap be notified that this is a requirement of the New York State Code enforcement, will be regulated by the town, and that regular maintenance of these grease traps is needed to ensure their proper function. The committee recommends that the town board approve a letter to be sent to all restaurants within the town who are served by municipal sewer, advising them that they are required to have a grease trap and must maintain this grease trap on a regular basis. Any restaurants that do not currently have a grease trap will be given 6 months to comply without penalty. Jeff moves it, I'll second that.
Discussion?
Yeah, is this restaurants that are on town sewer? Is this all restaurants in the community of Ticonderoga?
Town sewer. Town sewer.
Just curious.
If you plug your new system.
Mine's new, doesn't matter, yeah, I got it.
You don't
Just
plug it in
curious.
the water.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you. Under sewer outfall 003, the new structure has been installed. The wastewater treatment plant staff will be installing a flow meter, composite sampler, and a Mission RTU to monitor and notify the wastewater treatment plant operators of any overflows. The project will be paid for in full by FEMA. Under the Deputy Water Wastewater Supervisor's Report, under Water Districts, John Street Project, Risnick installed a new water main hydrant and 2 new valves on Schuyler Street. This new main has been put online. Under the Water Department furnace, Brian Benito and Bob Lavalley installed a new furnace at the Water Department garage. And many thanks to Bob and Brian, as this resulted in a significant savings due to not having to hire an outside vendor. Under New York State Route 74, the Highway Department, Peckham, and New York State DOT have completed the patch at the bottom of Chilson Hill. This patch was required due to a water main leak. Costs related to this task will be paid by the Water Department. Under the Racetrack Road PRV, last week, the 2 water mains were connected and 2 valves installed. When the PRV is received, this area can be isolated to allow for the installation of the new PRV and easily put online by reopening the valves. Pressure testing and disinfection is scheduled to take place next week. FEMA has not approved the scope change. Installing the PRV above ground, but Todd will be meeting with Mr. Owens on December 6th, and this is an item that will be discussed. Approval for this project is expected due to the underground PRV not meeting New York State codes and should result in FEMA paying for this project in full. And what that is we're alleviating a confined space that couldn't be made safe for human occupancy. It would not pass any testing to have people in there. Under Environmental Engineers Report, AES, under the Chilson Water Transmission Main, AES is currently working on an engineering, archaeological, and environmental requirements for compliance with FEMA review of this mitigation project. The geotechnical probes are scheduled for the week of December 2nd. Documents should be completed by the first part of January. At this point, FEMA will be issuing a new approval for the mitigation project totaling roughly $2 million in hazard mitigation grant funds. Bidding of this project is proposed to be late in February to early March. If this project remains on schedule, construction is expected in spring 2014 and will result in the replacement of 1 mile of town water supply 12-inch main. Under the 2013 Hazard Mitigation Project submission, the town of Ticonderoga 2013 Hazard Mitigation Grant Program application for $1.2 million in grant has passed the second round of the application. No word yet as of the status of award. It is anticipated the additional information will be needed once review is completed. These funds are for the replacement of the water main from approximately Route 9N 74 PRV to the north end of the commercial district on New York State Route 9N. This portion of water main frequently requires repairs and is cause for disruption in service for the commercial and street road areas. Replacement of this portion of water main will result in significant savings in O&M fees that result from the many repairs that will no longer be needed. The total package for this grant is $1.6 million. $1.2 million is reimbursable, and the town share is $400,000, which can be financed by EFC under the water supply project. Under the well development, Sawyer parcel, the well development at the Sawyer property is currently out to bid. Currently, there is a pre-bid meeting scheduled December 3rd with a due date for bids on December 6th. AES will provide a review of the bids and their compliance with the contract documents. There are a few companies that are capable of completing this type of drilling, therefore it's expected there will be limited bids received. Jumping over to page 10, public comment. Dave Liano. Dave asked if we could proceed with seeker if the well were not developed. Todd stated that it is best to complete seeker when everything is known. You couldn't end up doing it twice. Seeker also takes time to complete, and due to the critical dates the town has to meet, it would be difficult to meet them without a defined project. To simplify, it is best to drill the production wells now. Jody Alcott, the IDA is looking for funding opportunities for Shore Airport Road Water District to offset the debt portion of the water supply project. The district currently has debt that will not be paid until 2026. And the goal is to find a funding source to assist them with their portion of the water supply debt until at least their water district debt is paid. The average yearly cost per water resident in this district is $800. IP is assessed to 171 units, which amounts to approximately $60,000 for water use, and an additional $140,000 of debt, or plus $200,000 a year. Next scheduled water sewer committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, December 31 at 8:30 a.m. And that's the resolution, but we've already passed that. And I think that's all I had. Long enough. Okay, yeah. We do need to authorize some survey work be done on the Malden Road pump station, as we need to define an easement to where the pump station is situated. We've got a proposal here from AES for an amount not to exceed $12. And I would move that we authorize AES to complete the survey work on the Malden Road pump station in an amount not to exceed $12.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
So For survey, this has been surveyed, right? Surveying it again?
They're going to survey it out for an easement. There's some question about where the thing is situated in terms of the county right-of-way versus, they just want to define exactly where it is and then give easements to,
We didn't do this before we did this thing?
presumably not.
I'm not going to ask any more questions on camera. Okay, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That carries.
Deb, that notice to award the wells?
Yeah, I've got that right here.
You got that on your stuff? Okay.
AES sent us this information on it. As a result of the bid opening held December 6th regarding the above referenced projects, the 20-inch production well drilling and development, AES project number 3902, and based on the review of the bid documents, as per the attached recommendation by Claude Cormier, hydrogeologist, HydroSource Associates, we recommend the town of Ticonderoga award the contract, general construction, unit base bid to the lowest qualified bidder, which was Lane Christensen Company, for the total amount of $266,765. So we need a resolution to accept the bid of Lane Christensen for that amount and to authorize the supervisor to execute a notice of award, notice to proceed, and contract agreement upon the closing of the purchase of the property from Sawyer Brothers LLC.
I'll move that.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Cook?
So AES has vetted this group and this group, and we're not going to have issue with cold weather and all this stuff that we've been talking about. I mean, it's come up quite a few times. So this is the outfit that one of the ones that they suggest.
Yes. Highly, highly recommend. Yeah.
And this is for the 2 wells, right?
This is for the
Production well drilling and
Sawyer
development.
property.
You don't send all these bids to us and all this stuff that's going on? I didn't get any of this.
I guess you did.
I just sent it to the council person in charge of that.
I didn't get it, Deb.
You didn't get it?
Got everything I have right here. I don't have it. So that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable
It's all
with.
Do we have a second? Any more questions?
We're in the middle of it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So moved.
Do you have the rest of the items to bring?
Pardon me?
Do you have the rest of the items that she wanted you to bring? I'll give you a copy. And then the first one.
The first one, what? They were all, it was,
She has a ceiling.
Oh, Sue does?
Request the town board to authorize AES the pump station, we've done that. Request the town board to authorize AES to submit information and data as requested by New York State Department of Homeland Security Emergency Services for 2 hazard mitigation grants, emergency pump station generators for 6 stations, and then the 974 water main replacement to continue effort to procure these grant funds. I'll move that then.
yeah, they, FEMA just called, a FEMA representative called today in regards to the generators. So they just had a few more questions and they're ready to refund, reimburse the town for that.
The backup generators to back up the pump stations for the force mains around town. Right, Tracy? Yeah. And we talked about that.
Have them on there now?
Some do, some don't.
Right.
So you're getting 6?
So that's good.
6, yeah.
Applied for 6 on the hazard mitigation program.
How many pump stations?
I think we have 13 altogether.
Thanks. Thank
For
you.
the dollar amount,
So it paid out like
266,000.
280, I thought something.
280. That FEMA, Federal Emergency Management, is reimbursing the town of Ticonderoga.
Just curious. Thank you.
Yeah. Sweet.
I'll offer it. You second it?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Okay, Rick, here we have another
Go ahead, question.
question.
I have a question.
Courtesy of the floor? Yes? Okay.
She is, yeah. I'm over.
Two seconds.
I did.
Debbie Bill's got a question.
I have a question.
Yeah, you've been approved. First and second. Go ahead.
I just want to be sure I understand. The board just approved $266,000 and change to proceed with the development or to award the bid?
To award the bid.
Okay, the development, you could not,
To award the bid, notice to proceed, and the contract agreement upon closing of the purchase of the property from Sawyer's.
okay, is the property been closed on at this point in time?
No.
That's why it says upon closing of the purchase.
Do we have any estimated date of when that closing is going to be?
When it's...
As soon as we can get the title clear from the bank.
ready.
Just waiting on Sawyer's Bank.
So it should have been done.
Yeah.
If you're curious, it should have been done already. It's not, if you're curious.
All title is cleared except for the release of the mortgage.
So it's imminent. Is that what you're asking?
Soon.
Well, so we're going
Soon,
on the
hopefully
basis
soon.
of one bid that was described by the hydrologist as not surprising because it is such a rare item to do, but we've been told all along that this is common stuff, we do it all the time. Is it rare or is it common? Is this a rare occurrence of a well of this magnitude, or is this uncommon? I mean, that's what your hydrologist said.
My understanding, the way that was termed is the fact is there's not a great deal, many businesses that do this, but the businesses that do this, do it commonly. I think that's the whole
This
point.
is the same person that said it's common to do this, but now they're saying there's only one business that does it?
No, they're not
And
saying-
you're willing to go with one bid for over $250,000?
They're not,
How many bids were received?
they are not saying anything.
They're the one, Lane
It goes from a 20-inch head to a 10-inch
There's only one bid
main.
received.
I don't
There's one
understand
bidder.
why we're going from a 20-inch wellhead to a 10-inch main to transfer the water. What's the design issues in that? Has anybody even thought of that?
Have you brought that up during the committee meeting when the people, the engineers and the Department of Health and all of the experts are actually in the
I
room
wasn't
that can
privy to
answer
that
those?
information until this afternoon.
Okay.
It shows in the
That's fair.
bid documents. Okay, that's the first I understood that that was the case. But if they're going from a 20-inch wellhead, and then why do we need a 20-inch wellhead to generate water that pumps through a 10-inch main?
It's capacity.
Exactly. If you're producing 20 inches of water, why are you going to a 10-inch main if you need 20 inches of water?
It's
The 20 inches is to get the pump down there.
It's to drop the pump down.
It's a case.
I understand that.
Yeah, it's not a 20 inch.
It doesn't come out of that well at a 20-inch, in a 20-inch cup?
No.
Why do you need a 20-inch well?
To get the well down, where the pump is.
And to put the screen in there for the screens.
I had that same question like in October. You were there, we had that. You might not have been, because I asked the same thing, why the pipe has to
Why
be
such
so
a big hole?
And the pump is,
Pump down there needs to be moved. And the screen, that's designed, the screen is designed of.
there'll be a pipe inside that
I
pipe.
understand that part.
But yeah, the 20 inches just to get the pump down.
And that was just my understanding. I asked that question, I think it was the October sewer meeting, I had that discussion.
But we're,
Okay.
to continue on along those lines, we're continuing down with a 10-inch main to supply water for half to supply a Ticonderoga.
No.
This thing is supposed to be able to supply all of Ticonderoga.
Right.
In a one 10-inch main?
Well, whatever size the main, I don't know what the design of the main is, Bill, but I would imagine it'd be about.
It's a 10-inch main. That's what's running, they've got, I don't know how many thousand feet of it running away from the well, so I would assume that's what they're.
No, what we're doing in wells is to do the pump test.
20-inch capacity.
First step.
So there is no piping from this main, from this well that connects to our system.
There's some, but I can't remember the number, I don't have the bid in front of me. There's 1,000 feet of this all is for the pump test.
But it's all 10-inch main running away.
What the design would be to get it to the tank, I don't know what that would be.
And everybody's comfortable that only one bid is a competitive nature.
They only received one bid. That's only one bidder, person
It's
bid
the only
on it.
one you receive. Would that suggest maybe you want to look again? Just a thought. You did reach out.
You made the comment that the engineers or whoever it was had basically inferred that there was only this one entity that can do this. They didn't infer anything like that. They didn't infer, well, what you just said. The way you worded it sounded like the engineers or whoever that are dealing with this inferred that there was only one entity that could do this. They didn't infer that. They said that there was several different entities that can do this. They would be surprised how many people bid on it. It happened to be one person or one company that bid on it. It had nothing to do with that. They said that this was the only entity that could bid on it. That's basically what you had just said.
I would feel uncomfortable with everyone. Just for that. It's a lot of money.
Did we get everything done here? Town board authorized the EIS contract for the John Street project. We expanded to include assistance with the Empire State Development Grant, which was awarded to assist with construction costs above and beyond what was previously awarded by the Office of Community Renewal. And that's relative to the paving, wasn't it, John? I would move that. That we would authorize AES to do that.
I'll say.
More discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Who cares?
That's it.
Okay.
There's 4 items on here. Oh, wait a minute, a separate email.
I just have those 3 underlined. You did the first one, I have the other 3 underlined.
I've had trouble with my email. That's, I'm having to get a lot of my email.
Thanks. You do?
No, I said he has been having trouble.
I've had
with
trouble
emails, 'cause
with
They've been getting back to me.
Thank you.
So, you're all set?
All set. Thank you.
Operation efficiency, still reviewing the employee handbook. Buildings and ground, do you have anything else?
Buildings and grounds.
Buildings and grounds.
You're going to be all right?
Councilman Uliano.
Okay, mine are going to be short. We had a meeting November 19th. Myself, Tanya, Fred Hunston, Chetty Van Worth, and John Bartlett were there. Folks, we're focusing on the future repair and replacement of the buildings owned by the town of Ticonderoga. We're looking at different types of repairs on the community building, the library, the Heritage Museum, and the Armory. We're trying to set some money aside. We have to do that. We're looking at the town shed and police station, considering them for some type of replacement. Again, we're looking at this right now. We'd like input from the citizens as we move forward, and if you could attend these meetings, we're in this process of trying to figure all this out. It'd be extremely helpful. We're putting a new committee together in 2014. Some of the same folks will be on there, but just looking at these local laws, people come in and they have ideas that we don't even think of. So once we get moving on this and pick a direction, we're going to move on this. So sometimes folks don't like the way we spend money or how we spend money or where we're spending money. Come in and talk to us. Send a letter if you can't come in. If you send it to Tanya, it'll get to me. I will read it at the meeting, but most of the repairs are done. We're looking at Alfandre Architects that put together in what order things should be done as far as danger or hazard or problems, and we're going to work on that. Bill's going to be a help with this. He does, I'm hoping, he does a lot of building, but any input from the community, I would really appreciate it, because we're going to start spending some money to work on these buildings to keep them secure, and I would take any help I can get. So our next meeting's next week. It's Tuesday, December 17th. It's 10 a.m. and it's right here in the community building. So, and that'll be our final meeting for 2013. Thank you.
Very good. Parks Recreation, Steve?
We didn't have a quorum, so we didn't have a meeting.
Okay. So, John, do you have anything on airport?
Everything's on hold right now unless the contract came through for the tank.
Okay. Go right to highway, compact recycling, Councilman Cook.
Present were John Deming, Dave Woods, Mike Parent, Wayne Taylor, myself, guests Deb Mulaney, Chatty Van Wert, Bill Grinnell, Fred Hunston, Dave Iuliano, Carla Vigliotti. Highway Superintendent Mike stated that Carla has the paperwork done for a new plow truck, which would mirror the last one purchased. Do you know anything on that? Or do you have information on that?
It's already ordered.
I think Kara had something in here.
We haven't had to borrow the money yet because we won't take possession of the truck till approximately February 1st. So at that time, that's when we'll do the financing.
Okay, discussion was again had regarding the Bombardier type sidewalk plow. Along with this was discussion of the current Bellows sidewalk plow. It was discussed the possibility of looking at a used unit. The Bellows continues to be not proper vehicle for what we're using it for. Mike advised the crew continues to prepare for winter weather. He stated they had to discontinue further paving due to the cold weather. Whatever money's left over will be rolled over into next year's paving budget. It was anticipated that there would be a deficit in the paving budget this year, but a grant negated that. Wayne asked about paving, or to the best of our knowledge, Wayne asked about paving the Warner Hill Road. It was discussed that it may cost $500,000 or more to do this. Several people present suggested that it be returned to a gravel road and maintained properly to avoid this cost. There was a great deal of discussion regarding the issue of both for and against. Fred Hunston suggested the possibility of putting slate or other similar material down as a base to alleviate the issue of a clay base on this roadway. Mike suggested that the Birnbaum Road be made seasonal maintenance from the location where he wants it to be qualified abandoned, east to where it intersects with New York State Route 9N. Mike discussed the request from Mike Stippo to have the town accept the paved portion of a piece of property he owns off of Route 9N as a town road. There was again discussion regarding the location, and it was the consensus that it not be allowed due to many deficiencies present. Mike stated that the turnaround on Woody Lane was completed. It was noted that we are still unable to continue South Street onto Cannonball Path due to the difficulties with communicating with the adjacent landowner. Under miscellaneous, Wayne asked about the bridge on Veterans Road, and Mike stated the crew had addressed that by pumping cement into the base of it to help support it. John Deming stated that he had attended the County Highways Association meeting recently. He brought paperwork to Mike which delineates highway superintendent's statutory duties and gave them to him. John stated he has had no further correspondence with landowners on Sagamore Road as well as Colonial Street regarding easement issues we've been discussing. He spoke of a needed correction deed to clarify an issue on Heather Heights, and he's working on that. John spoke of an area near Dave Wood's residence on Burgoyne Road where the bank may be corrected to make a more clear line of sight. A correction deed was discussed regarding this area also. Mike spoke of projects he would like to address next year to include the Meyer Street continuation to make it easier and safer to plow that area, as well as the Baldwin Road, Alexandria Avenue intersection that he would like to address. The next meeting will be held after the new year as determined by the new administration.
Good, thank you. Human Services, Youth and Seniors, Councilman Oleon.
Okay. I'll make them short again. Seniors? I'm just going to review a little bit that we did last time with that sale that's going on, which helps folks in the community building every Friday, 10 to 2, to get them on the form for the Medicaid D coverage. They do have a phone number, 792-3537. This program helps anyone in New York State marketplace with insurance. I'm trying to let everybody know this lady is here, and she's a great help. If you're not sure about insurance, you can come down and visit with them. Again, she's here from 10 to 2 on Friday, and she is great. This program is really nice. The seniors won't have a December meeting. They're meeting January 15th, I believe. 2014 will be the tentative, at the Armory at 1 p.m. That's when that falls in. We kept it short. That's it for that one.
Wow, that is short.
Yeah, I'm keeping them short. I got Wayne if we want a longer. We doing YouTube? Okay, you.
Very well.
In attendance was myself, Tanya, Pam Mosier, Lawrence Herbert, Ellen Benedict, and Fred Hunston. County gave us an update on child seats. They have a program for the seats. We also have plenty of these things in storage, child seats, okay? The Thai PD can also help any parent with child seat installation. I guess like 80% of these things are installed wrong in people's cars, so, you know, you're welcome to come and ask and find out how to install them. If you can't afford one, Thai PD will help you get one, okay? They have these things that they can get to you. If you cannot afford a child seat, we'll make sure you have one. We had conversation about cameras at the beach and Armory. Again, you folks want to get some input, this would be a good time to talk to us a little bit about that. It's a remote area, it's hard to patrol, and we're just having damage done down there that just doesn't make sense. So we're really looking at that, at the beach especially, but also at the Armory. We're having some strange things go on. Problems at the Y there, the heat in the building, it's always been a problem. Some of those rooms are very cold. We had some repair we needed to do on the courts. Charlie and Mike got together and fixed these for us. They did a great job. They did it very inexpensively, and we thank them. For the dances, Pam was suggesting more flyers go out and be distributed, and the Biddy basketball had started. We received the resignation from Kelsey. We appreciate all she has contributed to the program. That position has been advertised in the paper at $10 an hour. We're trying to get the people that run our programs, and we have several programs, Biddy basketball, soccer. We have the ski program going on to give us a little more idea how these things run and try to work closer with the folks that do them. This ski program has collected $7,932, okay, for these kids going to Gore. 51 total skiers, 10 of them are new. More forms or any other forms for the youth can be received at Gore Mountain, and the program starts January 5th. Kids are usually home about 4:45. What we're trying to do is, as parents' kids age, other parents come in and take over soccer program, whatever program. We want to make sure they understand how it works, how to collect money, how to get money to time you. We just got to get a little better at training the folks that come in and take over these programs, so it's a little easier to do. So that's what we've been working on. Our final meeting will be next week, Monday, December 16th, 5 p.m. in the Armory. If anybody'd like to come, please join us. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Public safety. Whitford.
Meeting was held. Councilman Uliana called the meeting to order. Pledge allegiance at 5 p.m. Following members were present: Steve Whitford, Cal Cross, Dave Uliana, Mark Johns, Dave Woods, Bill Ball, Margaret Lawman, guest William Brunel, Chida Van Wert, Fred Hunston, William and Margaret Faloranicus, Whitney Russell, and Ron Drinkwine. Bill advised that he's had a very busy month with a lot of complaints. He's also started William Bruce, and he has him working on fire inspections. Bill had a guest, Whitney Russell, who works for New York State Building and Code Compliance Specialist for the state and covers 7 to 9 counties. Mr. Whitney gave an overview and the intent of the codes in which Ticonderoga is trying to improve on. Mark asked how state codes handle boats on property. Mr. Whitney stated that boats could be handled the same as vehicles. The same question was asked about campers, and the answer was the same. More questions were asked about burned out buildings with no clear answers given. Mr. Whitney stated asbestos removal is a big issue in this area. Margaret asked what could be done to keep companies from Mountain Lake Services from setting up in town. Mr. Whitney stated New York State law had been passed following this, and not much can be done. And there was much discussion on this issue. Okay. Mark stated in his report, stating that at the beginning of the next town board meeting, will be started with 3 ordinances being presented for public comment on the parking law, prohibits the parking of trailers on the side of the road, junkyard law, compliance with New York State Property Maintenance Code and Certificate of Occupancy Ordinance. Next, Mark stated that he has a request for traveling authorization for training of 2 officers on a course entitled Advanced Roadside Impairment Detection and Enforcement Training in Watertown towards the end of January. This training will focus on drug-related driving. Mark also stated that he had sent an officer last month to aquatic death investigation training, and the officer came back stating that the training was very beneficial. He's also been working with the school and that they are going to open the school during break for active shooter training. Mark stated that the department should come in under budget this year. Mayor stated that he had monthly bills to be approved. Calvin made a motion to accept these bills, and Dave Woods seconded, and they were approved. Calvin Cross made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Meeting was adjourned at 6:05 p.m. The next meeting will be held December 30th, 2013 at 5 p.m.
Anything on the library? Legal committees?
Nope. Quiet.
Insurance? Any insurance? Okay, contract negotiation, we finalized the police, we're finished. Supervisor's update. I had a message from, actually spoke to Patty Ozier, the assessor. She wanted to make sure people realize that there were many people, I think she had 75 people on her list who have not registered for the STAR residential exemptions. And she asked me, please tell the people to give her a call, and if they haven't signed up, and to see if their name is on the list. This is for the residential STAR exemption. This is not the enhanced STAR, which is a reduction in school taxes, or not senior STAR. Which will have until December 31st with a possible extension till January 31st. She is working on the enhanced STAR and senior STAR list, and those folks will be getting correspondence from her. So if you haven't signed up for your STAR residential exemption, please do.
Website's a little confusing because it takes you to a federal website, and then it's splintered off back to the state. So it's...
Yeah, so there may be, it looks like there possibly will be extensions. The state will offer, the feds will offer extensions to this program.
Yeah, I like that.
You read too much.
The good news is, which was announced the day before, yesterday, actually we've got the official letter, the 11th, from Matt Driscoll, President and CEO of EFC, Environmental Facilities Corporation. And Ticonderoga was awarded, actually two areas. The town of Ticonderoga was awarded the Green Innovation Grant Program for funds to incorporate stream daylighting, bioretention, and a constructed wetland adjacent to Bicentennial Park. This project will help reduce combined sewer overflows by directing storm water into more natural drainage features and out of the combined sewer system. And this is $539,103. And we're very, very appreciative. I believe there's a $60,000 match in that. But we're very appreciative to AES Engineering, who filled out this grant, submitted it in time, and were awarded it.
Because we talked about collecting the stormwater coming down the portage.
So it starts at Battery Street, comes down Daylight to some type of
irrigation pond. Yeah. Use it for watering the grass. Yeah.
So that's huge. That's really, once again, Ticonderoga through AES and the county, Essex County Planning, has been instrumental in helping get these water sewer infrastructure grants, as well as the IDA, industrial development. And the other award was to North Country Community College for the Ticonderoga Biomass Project. That's, it was $55,000 to go towards a feasibility study in the Lowe's building in Ticonderoga to determine the usefulness for education purposes. So during this round of consolidated funding applications, Ticonderoga once again did very well. So thanks AES and the governor and for the economic development money, and the CFA and the Regional Economic Development Council that scored us so high. I'm just going to say my ending information here, offering sincere thanks to the Ticonderoga community, and it's truly been an honor to serve and to represent this wonderful community for the past 4 years. I'd like to thank the community and the residents, and to the staff and the department heads, committee members, community volunteers who are so committed to the town of Ticonderoga. It's been a great 4 years with many successes, and when the three of us leave December 31st, we'll know that the staff, the board, and myself have helped make Ty a better place, and that we leave the town in good standing, both financially and in the town's reputation regionally and within the state. We're facing a most difficult economy in decades, and these are transitional times in the world and the nation. We've had our own local challenges. We've had costly DEC violations in the last 4 years, mandated drinking water improvements. We lost the Lowe's store and the jobs. We had a 500-year storm in Hurricane Irene, and a tax cap forcing the municipalities to become more efficient, to do less with less. Thankfully, our list of triumphs is even longer. The Montcalm Street building facelifts, private citizens investing in the downtown buildings who are determined to make Ty a better place, one building at a time. We've received over $6 million in grant dollars for much-needed infrastructure improvements, low-income housing upgrades, commercial buildings upgrades, airport improvements, and walkable trails around the community, to mention a few. The old Moses Ludington Hospital was transformed into a much-needed affordable housing. We have the new Tractor Supply and People Store and many new small businesses downtown. More recently, the formation of our new Thai Arts and Cultural Coalition, which is a key component to our economic improvement strategy, and the Thai Anti-Drug Coalition for Social Recovery. All good things, and more will come. Now, the Hamlet expansion via the APA is still underway, but it's not complete, and I do hope the new board will follow through with this project, allowing expanded use of private properties along 9N and encouraging new growth and economic opportunities. The new board will have many challenges to face, and no doubt will make decisions for the good of all and not for special interest. The current staff have years of collective experience and, if allowed, will guide you through the many pitfalls. Again, thank you for your support and for allowing me the opportunity to serve you. How fortunate we are to be able to live and work here in Ticonderoga in the Adirondacks. And it's been quite a ride, guys. It's been fun. And on the back of it, I do have some special thanks to a number of people that I have worked with repeatedly and spend a lot of time with. I won't go through all of them because it's an extensive list. I've had the opportunity to work with some of the finest people in the town, the county, the region, and the state, and I'll just highlight a couple of my very special thanks. Amy Quisnell, Carla Vigliotti, Sue Eustace, Tanya Thompson, Sue Allen, the town board, all the department heads and staff, and you'll have to read the rest by yourself. Sharon Reynolds at Pride, Alex Levitch, Sandy Morehouse, Sue and Howard Rathbun, the Chamber of Commerce, Pride, Main Street Partnership, the Revitalization Alliance, all the citizen committee volunteers, Chief Johns, Tracy, Derek, Bill, Ricky Quisnell, Mike Parent, Patty Ogier, Fred Hulbert, Charlie Gagnon, Paul Burns, Ann Dahlbeck, Sue Thatcher, Marge Hulbert, Matt Fuller, Esquire, thank you for everything you've done for us and continue to do. AES Todd Hodson, and Jim Dugan, and Claude Cormier, the hydrogeologist, Bob Diedrich, and Jerry Cooper. There's still a number on the list that I wanted documented for the last. So anyway, that's that. I also included for your information and to take with you a list of a lot of the accomplishments. Whose efforts were a collective accomplishments between the town board and the staff. And so anyway, thanks again. Got through that. We'll move on to the report of the department heads. Carla, do you have anything?
I have a couple budget adjustments for the police department. We got reimbursement for a policeman we had on duty for Black Friday at Walmart. I'd like to increase the A3120.101 police overtime personal services budget by $487.20 and increase the A277 miscellaneous revenues by $487.20. The second is for the Ragnar relay event that we had this fall to increase for the police protection as well, A3120.101 police overtime personal services by $411.12 and then increase the revenue A2770 miscellaneous revenue for $411. That's it.
I'll move it, we make the adjustments.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
And then I also would like you at the end to, a motion to go into executive to discuss a personnel issue.
Okay.
And that's it.
Alrighty. Tanya, town clerk?
We have one member of your planning board, the term comes up at the end of this year, and that's Don Reserve, and he would like to be reinstated to a full term. He actually filled in for the rest of Lou Peters resigned, so he is up and would like to become a full member with a full 7-year term. If somebody would like to.
I would move that.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Good guy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So moved.
And we have a resignation from Mr. Bill Cornell for the Zoning Board of Appeals Chairman. If somebody would like to accept the resignation.
I'll move.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Let's keep them on it. Come on.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
That being said, I would like to advertise again for open positions on the Zoning Board of Appeals. If somebody would like to move that, I can advertise for that.
I'll move it.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And also talking with Supervisor-elect Bill Grinnell, he would like to schedule the organizational meeting for January 2nd at 10 o'clock. So if somebody would like to schedule that meeting.
I'll move it.
Is there a second? Checking your calendars?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
10 o'clock, you said, Tanya?
10, yes, January 2nd. I would like permission to place our annual ad that we put every year regarding plowing into the roadway, and it's for the highway. I didn't bring it with me, I'm sorry, but it's regarding the responsibility of plowing into the roadway.
Private plowing,
Yeah.
businesses are not allowed to push the snow out of the driveways into the town road.
Leave it in the road. And to leave it in the road.
And no snow blowing into the intersections or town roads either.
So I'd like to publish that notice.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
That carries.
Couple things, man. Is it done you yet?
I'm
You done? We talked of posting the roads with weight limits.
Yep. Seasonal?
Yeah. How involved is that, and how much of a process, how much lead time do you need to do it?
Are you talking just for the spring? Or
I'm talking a weight limit, because we spend a lot of money on these roads, and then they end up, getting pulverized with these heavy trucks.
Yeah. Well, a lot of our municipalities do them manually in the spring. It's a notice and then you post it.
But the highway superintendent initiates that,
Yeah.
and does the board have to approve it, or is it just, can he do it on his own?
No, it comes to you.
It comes to us,
Here's a
okay.
resolution, yeah.
Okay.
I think I don't have it with me here, but I can send it to you. Yeah, do you have some that need to be permanently posted weight?
Well,
Is that what
it's,
you might?
it's, a lot of them don't have the
Yeah.
mechanical capability of carrying the loads that they're run across, you know, that they put across them.
Yeah,
So, I
that's a
mean-
little different if you're gonna go permanent
Yeah.
weight posting, but if there's a process, I mean, you don't have to lose your highways.
Next thing about scapping a road that's got a blacktop surface on it now with homes built along this road, and then if you're gonna convert that road back to dirt, wouldn't that devalue the properties? Wouldn't it be subject to?
If you're gonna what?
Well, if you have a paved, your road's paved in front of your house, and then the town, for whatever reason, wants to convert it back to dirt road status, and take the pavement away and make it dirt again, would that not be subject to a whole different realm of scrutiny and legal? You know?
I mean, there's no guarantee to a paved road.
Okay.
But I think you'd have to evaluate, not from a property owner standpoint, but from a road liability standpoint. You know, grades, slopes, that kind of stuff. To answer you, I would take a look at it before you just did it.
Okay, and then where are we in the realm of this Bourbon Road QA?
You have the resolution that Mike came back from vacation. I actually thought you did it at the end of the month, at the end of the month meeting, but you can adopt that resolution to send it to the county highway superintendent.
I was looking on the local realtor's website, and one of those properties that borders that road is on there for $800,000. It's up for sale. It's,
That this is access to?
I believe so. I believe so.
That was one of the questions I asked when you...
I told you that there was a piece of property for sale on that. I did. Midway down.
But I didn't know where it was situated. Is it below the QA? Because they were going to do the QA on the 528 feet, right?
Is this part of the road used to access that property?
I don't know.
That was one of my first questions when he called me. This is going back June?
It's in the area you want to close off.
It is.
But is it the access?
That's the only road to it.
Meaning,
In other words, is there a driveway from that portion, whatever? I don't know personally.
If he's talking about piece of land, I'm thinking,
It's on the website, on the local realtor's website. $800,000, some kind of a paradise or...
don't do it then. Hold on. I mean, you can do it anytime, so you're not... Did you send me that link?
Yeah, I'll send you a link to it, yeah.
Surveyed the Bourbon recently.
What was that?
John
You had
Denny.
John Deming working on that project. He would know what properties border.
Yeah, I could have sworn that they vetted this before they sent it to me.
He did, but I would confirm it with him.
Yeah.
That's all I got, man, thank you.
If you can send me that link, though, we'll
I should.
print it off and send it to you. You guys are going to be year-end meeting?
I'm sure that's supposed to be.
Yeah, we could do it
Because I think
on the 31st.
one of Mike's concerns was the winter, having to plow over this thing. So I don't think it's something you want to have linger for very long. But we don't want to have an access claim.
So would you like to schedule your year-end meeting on December 31st?
Yeah, we'll do it at the 11:30 finance meeting, and we're not having highway. The highway committee meeting was canceled, so
So if you want to move,
that'll give us time.
if you want to move that, have the end of the year meeting on December 31st at 11:30. Somebody?
Second.
I'm not doing anything further to my calendar.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
All right.
I haven't got to my calendar yet.
Okay, who's next? What's next?
I also forgot why not talk to them lunchtime? I also forgot just to remind you that you have already set a a special town board meeting with a public hearing on December 16th at 6:30 PM to talk about the CDBG grant that Pride would like to submit for us. And I really just want confirmation because we have to have 3 board members there.
I won't be there. We have a late county meeting. It starts at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we go through the evening, so,
Okay.
for the budget
I
and
sent an
meetings.
email to John, but I didn't get a response back from him, but are we gonna have 3 board members there, please?
I gotta know, I'm gonna be there.
You're gonna be there?
I expect it.
Dave, too. Steve, you
As
weren't
long as I'm
here.
not in Albany.
What day?
It's December 16th at 6:30.
Yeah, it's after my youth meeting, I already put it in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a good thing. Now I'm done. You can have that.
That's the Sawyer property.
Is that the
And that's fine, yeah. That's not
That's
the other
the
property. that's up for
CDGB?
sale.
Look here.
The other property's midway up the hill.
I'll email John again and ask him if he
Is it,
can.
what is it?
Send it
Rosemead's
to
Farm?
Ron.
Yeah, Rosemead. That's for sale.
Was that, to me now?
Yes.
Okay, on the couple local laws we had, well, I think I'll deal with what I perceive to be the easier one first, which was the junkyards. If that's okay, then you can, I know you did one resolution, but you should actually formally close that public hearing for that local law. And if you wanted to adopt that, you could. I don't know if there were any last changes to that. The other 2, I got a couple quick comments about things I think that came up from the audience that you might be able to make a change and possibly adopt those at the end of the month if you wanted to. So the junkyard, was that one okay? I didn't hear any
Yeah, the junkyard.
issues with that one.
I don't have any problem with it.
Now, I know you had a comment about going from 2 to 1.
Right.
Just, Bill, can you clarify, under the building code, which I don't generally deal with, but under the building code, you can only have 1. Is that correct?
The way they read, yes. What he wrote from the Department of State, where he said that most municipalities do adjust that and the state is okay with that.
Okay. So the town could have 2. The choice is 1. That's your, now, where that building code thing first came up.
That's in the property maintenance code.
Yeah, was sent to me, that had to be. When it was sent to me, it was that it had to be down to 1 because that was the building code, and I didn't independently research that. I took it.
Yeah, it's definitely in the code, but that's why I wrote the rush off to the last public safety meeting. Every town has modified that to suit, you know. Again, and, you know, and I'm definitely not in favor of making them have one vehicle, you know, because there are people that collect vehicles and, you know, stuff like that. But again, if the board wants it, we'll enforce it. That's, you know, that's-
But your input is...
we don't make policy, we just carry out what your wishes are.
Right, but you have a sense out there of, you know,
I-
what the
I
needs
think-
are in the
I think
community,
it's
and that's why
going to
we
be
want
a
to...
very hard law, and I think you're gonna get a lot of kickback on it. You know, as it stands now, we allow 1 unregistered vehicle to be visible, and the other one is covered with a car cover or screen by trees, fences, or whatever.
I just want to make sure you have something clarified. We're not really talking about specifically unregistered vehicles, my understanding according to this.
Roadworthy
It's
vehicles.
right, roadworthy. It doesn't necessarily mean unregistered. It means roadworthy. In other words, capable of being operated on the road. Is Fred commented that wouldn't apply to his
No,
2
no.
boat trailers, for instance, that
That's what I mean, but
he licenses during the summer, that kind of thing.
But it's a little vague, and, you know, and you notice today, you know, you have, you know, everybody wants to be a lawyer, they want to fight and argue, and what is this and what is that, and it just go on and on and on.
But that's just a clarification I wanted to have, is that it doesn't delineate as unregistered vehicles.
If people respected their neighbors and screen these things in, there wouldn't be issues. You know, it's even like, you know, Eagle Lake, Route 74 has been a big issue this year. We've had lots, probably hundreds of complaints.
Lots of, many complaints.
And, you know, some of these people would just move their vehicle down the site, you know. People wouldn't, you know, but when you're going down the road and there's junk cars on the side of the road.
Junk boats.
And the, you know, taxes are going up. And, you know, with all the other issues that got up that way, they just get a little testy. They're looking to blame the town for everything.
I agree with it, it needs to be dealt with. And just wanted to clarify that it didn't delineate as.
But, you know, you can't legislate good taste, you know. They, some people have no idea, you know, they live like pigs and that's it.
Okay.
So maybe I was wrong about that. Do you want to leave all three of them until your meeting's end of the month?
I think so.
Here's my thought on the CO, well, the question of, are you going to have a charge for every unit in a hotel? I thought was a good question.
That's a great question. How do you do that to the facility?
Yeah, so what you may do is cap it.
50 rooms,
You could
separate
have
criteria.
$35 per unit up with a cap of $100 or whatever number you want. I don't pretend to have a number, but whatever's, somebody brought up the thought of it covers your cost. That's the, I think the intent.
How about if the people complied and passed the inspection, the fee be waived?
No,
Couldn't do that?
no.
Cost you to send them out there.
Yeah, cost you to do the job.
Well, because then it becomes a fine in disguise.
Okay.
But
That one needs more thought, more consideration. But this junkyard one, that was easy. Leave it at 2 and add boats.
Something that you could,
If they can go along, they don't have to re-inspection.
Okay, take care of that. The parking. I didn't really have a sense of the direction on that. Was there an issue? Was there?
I know Jeff had brought up some good points.
I completely agree that trailer or whatever, an unattached vehicle or trailer of any type, whatever, shouldn't be left sitting on the roadway. I just don't know if 24 hours or whatever is a good time frame to utilize.
It's purely a policy decision with the board.
and the committee has physically had this law in their hands and looked at it?
So if the only problem is the time here, we can pass this thing and then decide what that time period is, right?
It's going to be filed with local laws, you got to go to the Secretary of State, right?
We file it, yep.
If it's a problem with 24 hours, then make it 1 week. Because the big problem isn't going to be the vehicles parked 1 to 4 days, the fishermen and stuff. It's the guys that are leaving these things there all summer long.
In this, we need to, in my opinion, we need to delineate the difference between, say, for instance, parking on town property, where there's a piece of property over here off the main road, as opposed to a roadway. In my opinion, we shouldn't have anything parked that's not in a parking area on town property.
Right. Liabilities.
And it's a parking area.
Well, for instance, the airport, that's a different issue. That is a parking area. People park up there for extended periods of time because they have planes, they go, especially during the summer. They may be gone for 2 weeks, they come back to their car.
You can
That needs to be dealt with.
Well, those people could get a permit.
Certainly, that's an
They can either
avenue.
get a permit, or you can,
They pay a fee to have that airplane there, so
That's right,
on
so they
that
have a right
fee
to be
needs
paid
to be
there.
whatever the license number is on their vehicle, so we understand one correlates with the other, and they're paying to be in this town. They're
But
paying a fee.
I understand, but I'm just saying is that it would be wise, I think, to include that information in there. You know what I mean? So is it delineated, so somebody doesn't have a question, well, I can't park here, but I can park there.
you can't park at the airport if they're not paying a fee to park the planes there.
Like Matt said, it should be some kind of a permit, some kind
Well,
of...
you've got that
standard or
permittability in
something
here.
to-
It's already in the draft.
Just leave it at that, because, you know, you're gonna run into a lot of this.
No, I realize that, but I'm saying if somebody has a permit, like it says in there, if somebody has a permit or something to do that, that's fine.
So we gotta get permits, that's fine.
But you got to make laws so specific. I mean, it wouldn't require a judge to look at it? I mean, is that the thing? Is that what I'm hearing? I mean, we're trying to make so much detail built into it?
No, my thing is Joe Blow that has an airplane can go up there and park his car. Why can't somebody else?
Because they don't pay.
But you, I understand that, but you need to have that permit. You need to make sure that that's in place, is what my point
But
is.
if it came before the judge, wouldn't the person be able to say that to the judge and they'd say, yeah, case dismissed? I mean, isn't that...
It's just actually, it's just a simple paper permit. We have them in the Village of Lake George.
Yeah.
That's
I have
what
to
my
get one to park in the lot.
That's
It
what my
costs me
point.
$100 for the year.
And that's what my point is, but we need to do that.
Yeah, you have that here, they just need a permit.
There's nothing we can do to have it, make it like a revenue tool, like a pass, let them
Yeah,
park
it
on
costs
the
me
road?
$100
Yeah.
down there
Done?
for 1 year.
And you can park on the road?
No. I can only park in certain lots.
Oh, I see.
It actually designates a lot
Yeah.
down the street from my office. You can't park on a street with that permit. It's only designated parking lots. But that's how they tally their permits. So you guys can say, okay, if you've got somebody that's paying a tie down or has a hangar or something like that at the airport, here's your permit and that's the fee for it. You could say, if you're gonna have an event and you want to be able to park X trailers in this lot, there's the permit, there's the fee for it. So the organizers would know, we've got these permits for these trailers, or however you did it. It would just be, that's why I left the section 3 generic, so the town board can address that permit if they need it. And when they would come in and pay Tanya to get it, like this year, they would blue piece of paper, and you can sign by the clerk. Don't put it in your window. If you don't, you get a parking ticket. It's actually pretty easy to administer.
You can just keep finding spots. I mean, the trailers for the 4th of July, some of them are here a week, for God's
But
sake.
they get a permit. No, that's what they would. They would get a permit.
Tanya's so lenient, it's terrible. You know, don't even go there.
And that's purely your.
But I mean, yeah, so I like, just leave the permit in there and then we'll decide.
So do you want to close your public hearing on the parking permit and then adopt your local law?
Okay, I move we close the public hearing on the parking permit.
I'll second it.
All in favor? So moved. So,
I'll move it.
moving, who's
The
moving?
motion to accept the,
For parking?
Based on the resolution I gave you?
Yep.
It's a usual local law resolution.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
That's utilizing the 24 hours.
It is. That was not changed.
Oh, we were gonna change that, weren't we, to a week?
You didn't change it, no.
Would you like to change it to a week?
Yes. Didn't we say that? Is that what you suggested?
I would
it's a good
suggest
idea.
that we
Yeah.
make the motion change that with the exception of the one.
So we should rescind our last meeting.
No, you're adopting the local law with the change of the week from that.
Good. Nicely done. She was so
All in
tough on
favor?
people with trailers.
So moved. And the other two you want to wait on, have more conversation, bring it back to.
Oh, there's a lot to be done with the
Work
other
on
two. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know that it's a lot. I think that one change to that fee part will probably get you there. I have an idea in my head, actually.
On which one?
Drafted it here.
The what?
I plugged it in here on the CO. As you guys were talking, I typed it in, what I'm thinking.
But there were questions about multiple units, like a
That's what I did.
hotel or,
That's what I changed.
and, okay.
The
You
junkyard.
won't be able to do that tonight. That's too big
Yeah,
of a
that
change.
one's too big. Now, the junkyard is easy. We already have an existing junkyard law, and this is either reducing it from 2 cars to 1 and adding boats.
Well, if
I like
the
the
code
idea of leaving
enforcement
it-
officer isn't
Would
for
like to
it,
keep it, he's for keeping it at 2 and adding the boats, correct?
I just think it's going to be a major hit, and you guys are going to take the problem.
If they reduce it to 1. Is that what you're saying? Okay. So then all you'd be doing is adding boats to our existing law.
You guys all fine with that?
Yep.
Everybody fine with that?
So you want to close the public hearing for the regulating, amendment to regulate the junkyards?
Move that.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Now, somebody want to move the junkyard, adding boats, leaving the existing law the way it is, leaving the 2 not unregistered? What's the key word?
I'll move that.
Is there a second?
Where are we? Adopting the junkyard.
Adding boats to the
Adding boats and-
junkyard.
1 car to 2.
No, you're
Leaving it at 2. It's
Just
already at
adding
2.
boats. So the only amendment is to add boats to the existing law.
so 2 cars, 2 boats?
No, 2 cars and,
Or build a fence around the whole works.
But that's in your existing law.
that already.
It's already there,
The
yeah,
only thing you're changing now is to add boats.
that's it.
And that's out and open and visible.
Not serviceable. A boat that doesn't run, you're talking about.
It's just
That
adding
don't make
the
sense to me.
It's more than that, but that goes, now you're back to the original local law.
And that wouldn't apply to boat storage facilities or nothing like that.
No, it's the boat sitting on the side of the road upside down or
So
half of it.
if somebody owns a boat,
That we
they
can
can't, well, wait a second.
But they are,
I can tell you there's a couple boats on my property, I use them both.
We're not talking about something that's usable.
Tree growing through it.
That was the question I asked, and they said no. That was the question I asked, if it was
They said yes.
usable.
I said yes,
Oh, you did.
I did.
No, you said it in your lawyer's voice.
For purposes of, where's this part of this local law?
Right now, it says motor vehicle, motorized vehicle.
Yeah, it's not a condition for legal use if major parts of the vehicle are not found thereon. And it gives a bunch of examples. So if you've got a scrap boat sitting out there, it will fall under this.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it, that's simple. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Wayne
I
moved it.
No second yet.
I'll second it.
Steve seconds it. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Bill, not tomorrow, go get David's boats.
Yeah, and Burmine Road, we'll take care of it at the end of the month. I'll get an answer on that. I tend to agree. I think it was vetted because that was my first question right out of the gate. We're not going to have a claim for damages because there is a provision in the law that a property owner can make a claim for a damage.
Right.
And there's a whole process for assessing that if their access is cut off. And I was assured that no, that this piece may go over 2 boundaries, but it doesn't, for lack of a better term, landlock a piece. So that if you think about it, the beginning and end of this QA part, there's not a piece of property that solely exists within those bounds. You know what I mean?
It's 528 feet.
Right. So if your property began 50 feet into that and ended 200 feet into that, then that is your only access.
Yeah.
That was my concern. Whereas if your property if this part of the road extends beyond your property, then there's no claim there, because you have access on public highway. So that's, I'm almost positive he did, but
that's
just before it got to it.
But the remainder is going to be made seasonal maintenance, right?
Yeah, that's what he wants to do.
Would that be a factor in terms of access? If it's deemed seasonal maintenance, that's still considered bona fide access?
Now, where are you going to close this off? Is that going to be down?
Right at the steep, right where it's, right where it goes up the hills.
He sent pictures, there were a bunch of pictures.
Is it going to be blocked off?
There's one there now.
Probably gravel at the top.
What about the guy that owns the property midway down the hill on the left?
On the north side of the road, you mean?
Yeah.
There's some pictures
Because he
there.
doesn't have any other, I'm surprised he didn't see that.
That's up past Bob Gray's place.
Tanya has these pictures for the record.
Okay, let's do an Italian email. Just hit the down. And you can put it in there. I don't know why it's not
He won't be able to
centered.
get to his property.
We'll have this set up.
Busby won't be able to get to
You
his
put that
property.
address at the top of there, you got it.
He's gonna, he ain't seen it yet.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
I know Wayne, he's just got a trail around.
I think that's it.
Cut a tree right down. Go.
And the other will close as soon as we have that release. Pay off in the bank.
All right, where are we here?
Winding down. Oh,
Matt, are you finished?
Yeah.
Okay. Go on to the end of the meeting. Approval of the water and sewer reports.
I will move that.
Second?
I'll second.
Jeff, all in favor? Approval of supervisor's monthly financial report. It's in here in the books. The general account at the bank has $1,575,396.15. Somebody want to second that?
I'll second it. Debbie.
All in favor? Anybody opposed? Motion to pay the bills.
Make the motion.
Jeff moves.
second.
Dave seconds. Discussion? Let's hear. All in favor?
Aye.
Moved. Okay, motion to adjourn into executive to discuss personnel. Where are you going? Are there any end of meeting comments anyone would like to make? Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. We'll adjourn to executive.
Fred, Chatty, and Bill can remain in executive.
Bill Ball, please.
And Bill Ball, yeah.
You guys have got to make
First, second?
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Tracy, thank you.